All right, bro. Small little countdown, and we're pretty much on. It's live. Yeah. So, welcome to the podcast, and fucking everyone will now know you're alive.
Not
That you
yet.
made it through your 20 years.
Isn't that weird? I have seen people or like heard of people that I didn't think about for 20 years, and my brain, like I didn't think they were dead, but at the same time, like there's nothing from them, like no information. I haven't heard a friend of a friend talk about it. So it does make me think how many people thought, like, did I just die? That I was like just off the planet for 20 years.
You definitely were doing something else. I mean, I know I lost touch with you while you were still in and I was out, and I'm just like, but that was
Yeah.
normal for a lot of people because of deployment schedules and all sorts of everything else. And I don't know,
But
I was just working too.
I was still awake because I had through Kelleher, I still had like a little bit of in touch with Ryan, and then you were in touch with Ryan. But there was still like a little bit of in that circle. I would hear your name or some of the other guys. Is that's just like
Yeah.
a couple degrees of separation. But yeah, there's a lot of people from our friend group that I heard a little bit, and sometimes I wonder. I'm like, man, I hope that guy's doing good. Or I'll see somebody that was on your podcast, and I was like, holy shit, I forgot about that guy.
I talked to De La Cruz randomly. If he had his way, he would fall off the earth.
Yeah, last I heard, he was in Colorado, right?
He still is, yeah.
What's he up to?
He does something with aerospace and rockets. I would have to like go reread through everything we talked about, and then on the weekends, he's a fly fishing guide.
I know that was like a big thing for him. Like I heard that he did that and like
Yeah,
some like not rock climbing, but something with climbing a rock or like bouldering. I think it's called.
yeah. So that's basically rock climbing with a different name. That's like
Yeah,
the shorter rocks that you can just go up and down like 16, 20 feet. You can do them pretty easily. There's no ropes.
it is weird to see how many people took like how everyone's paths kind of just got for that couple years just intertwined, and then everyone just did their own thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was definitely weird seeing all of you guys leave. And then there was a couple of us left. And it was weird because that circle of people that we knew got smaller and smaller. And then it got to the point where I wasn't in a circle. You know what I mean? Like at the
Yeah.
beginning, everybody knew that group of people because we were only in one spot. And then if you had gone somewhere or there was more spots, somebody would kind of know you or know of you from that circle. And there were times towards the end where like I would walk in somewhere, maybe recognize a person, but nobody knew, which kind of was nice too, but there was no history. No one knew anything. And then towards the end I realized like it's enough. I'm done.
I could definitely see that. Yeah. I remember because Farva had a 4 year contract. He
Yeah.
was an open contract, and so he had a
Yeah.
4 year. And it surprised me when he was like, "Yeah, I'm getting out like next month." I'm like, "You're what?
Yeah, that was
How the hell?" He's like,
that was the first guy that was like, because we all came in together, and then when he left a year, and it made it kind of like a real thing where I was like, oh wait, there's an end to this. Like there's like one of us just left. Like I knew people could get out, and people did get out, but it just didn't make sense to me until he did it, and then I seriously started thinking about like, oh, I'm done too. Like it's my turn, and that was the funny thing was towards the end of that like first term I went to the schoolhouse. I think Duclos and my buddy Eversol were there, and everyone told me like stay in, like stay in. 100% of the people that I talked to guys that did well in life, guys that maybe didn't do as well in life, guys that stayed in, guys that got out. 100% of them said stay in, and I could never figure out like they could never even tell me why. And I remember I was getting out. There was nothing you could do to keep me in. They offered like I think it was a $30,000 or $40,000 bonus, which was insane. Like just
This
here,
is on first enlistment.
yeah, yeah. And I was
Yeah.
like, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do this. And then I remember I hadn't deployed because we were all like stuck at that, 204, and then you get stuck somewhere else, and you're kind of like, man, I want to do this one cool thing. So like fate at it, where Kelleher was actually he had re-enlisted or he had extended or something, and I was like, you know what, like screw it, like I'm just gonna go for it, and I'll just do one more. It'll be all right. Like it'll be fine. And then at the end of that four, and I was done. I was like, man, all right, I'll do four more. And like I never had a thought to it at all until 12 years in. At this point, I'm remarried. I have a daughter. I've been on way too many deployments. Barely got to see family. I think first 2 years of Ava's life, I was home for 5 months, and they weren't consecutive. So this time I was like, every enlistment, I was like, dude, I'm done. Like I never thought about getting to 20 ever. Like I was just like, no, I'm just gonna do this one more thing. And I remember I talked to my wife and I say, babe, like we're good. Like I have a job lined up in Ohio. Like we'll figure it out. Like I'm good. Like I'm still young. Like this fine. I'm getting out. And again, everyone kept telling me like, dude, what are you doing? And I was like, look, I get it. Like I don't think it's a waste of 12 years. I got all this experience. Like it's good. Like I'm good. Life is good. I can't keep doing this. Like it's exhausting. I don't see family. Um, and I remember I hit 12 years in one day on that deployment. And it's something in my brain. Like I used to, people would have maps or people would have like little pie charts of how many days left or a countdown or something. And I would always equate it to a PFT because I hated fucking running. So for me, I was
I
like,
do
oh,
too.
if you got like 7 years in or whatever, that's 1 mile. And you're like, dude, I don't want to do another two. Like this sucks. But for some reason, like 12 years, my brain just said, "Oh, that's 2 mile mark." Like that's what it feels like. And every time I ran, my brain did the same thing. I hated it all the way up, all the way to the halfway point. I hated it. I was like, dude, fuck this. It's not that bad if I lose a career. Like I'll get NJP. I don't care. I fucking hate running. But then I'd make it to the mile and a half mark every time, and I would do the math, and I'd be like, okay, if I just keep doing this, like I won't fail it. But that even that mile and a half to that 2 mile mark, my brain still went, dude, just stop. This is stupid. It's enough. Like, what are you doing? Why are we running? This is stupid. I hated it. But every time I got literally there was a little sign that says, 2 mile mark on the floor, my brain went, I gotta get to my car. My car is at the end of the 3 miles. So I might as well fucking keep going. So that's how I felt when I hit my 12 years mark. Like I was like, oh fuck. Like I'm already here. I can't. I don't want to start something fresh. And so, if it's another career, so you might as well keep running to the parking lot. So we did it one more, and then I had my last one. The last one was the easiest one. I was like, oh, I'm fucking at the finish line. Like as long as I don't commit a felony, I'm gonna make it. I picked up my last rank. I was like, there's no way I'm getting it past this rank. I'm never being like I'm solid. And they threw a bonus, which was fucking stupid. Like my last enlistment, they were like, we'll give you money if you re-enlist. I was like, okay, like dude, I'm already gonna do it. But it was kind of weird because from the from the get go, I always thought I was gonna be like Fargo. Like I was like, oh, I'm getting out. Like it's my turn. And then someone else would get out. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm next. Like I'm gonna get out. And then one day I had a retirement ceremony and I was like, oh shit. I finished a race I didn't realize I was still running. It was like it was so weird, dude. It was good, but it was weird.
I remember when Fargo got out, I'm like, man, I really got to start making some decisions and quick. I'm like, fuck, because like same thing for the re-enlistment bonus, and they're like, yeah, we'll fly over to Iraq, it'll be tax free and everything, and like,
Yeah, they were doing that.
Yeah, and like it was some absurd number. I want to say it was over 40 grand.
For us, it was,
Like I
I
remember
remember
I
it
got
exactly. It was 36 or 35 because Avi got 40. The crew chiefs were getting 40.
yes.
And everybody was like, dude, we've never seen a bonus. They were doing like, if you got 2 grand, you were lucky. And they were giving it
Mhm.
like, it was like, just can't, like, everybody with the pulse gets one. The freaking expediter got one for the poor kid. You
Jesus.
know, like, and he's
Wait,
like,
well, expediters come from our shop though, or they come from the shops.
it was an ABI kid that had been an expediter for 4 years. So that he got a 40,000,
Right.
everybody was giving him shit. And he's like, do I still get this? Like, I don't know how to do my job. I was like, bro, just sign the paper, shut up. You're going to get $40,000. Yeah, I don't know. It's just, there was no rhyme or reason. But yeah, I remember you getting out because I remember you were always in the shop and then Ryan he was working as like at the chapel forever. Like I never thought about
Ryan was at the chaplain forever, and then he went to phase.
but only for a little bit, right? And then he got out.
No, he was at the squadron for well over a year. You were at the schoolhouse for that.
Oh, okay. Maybe that's why I lost it because I see everybody.
Yeah, because me and Ryan picked up corporal like within months of each other. Then I moved out of the barracks, so I moved in with Tommy and Nick. And then Ryan finally moved out of the barracks because he didn't think he could put in the paperwork while he was still at the chaplain's office. And I told him he could. Then when he finally got out, that's when we moved into your ex-wife's old place
Oh
that we rented off you guys.
yeah, I
And
remember that.
so we lived there until like 2 or 3 months before I got out, and then we moved down to fuck, I forgot the name of the town, but it's in between Jacksonville and Wilmington.
You guys were down in Surf City or Topsail, right?
It was like really, it was
Hampstead?
literally we were 3 houses down from Jones.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think it was like Hampstead or
I don't
something. I remember
remember
you
it,
guys moving out there.
but it was right next to Surf City. It was the next town inland.
Yeah.
And all I know is like I drove through it once and it had like blown up, and I'm just like, well, this sucks now.
Have you? Yeah, I was supposed to say, have you been there lately? Like in the last year or two?
I drove through it all when I came up to visit you right after you got out, and then we swung by Leroy's house, and he still
Uh,
lives in Jacksonville.
yeah, it's insane. It's
Oh,
insane
it's wild.
because I remember when I retired out of Pendleton. So like we lived in North Carolina 14 years. My wife loved it. Like I was okay with it. Like it wasn't a big deal, but we wanted to get out West Coast. So we had Yuma a little bit and then California. And she fell in love with California. And I mean, it's hard to complain about a place where it's like so nice and it's, beach is 5 minutes away. But I was like, I can't retire. First of all, I was like, we need to win 3 lotteries. There's like, we can't afford anything. And everything takes an hour. There's just like a billion people. So we're like, let's move back to North Carolina. Like we liked it there. We were closer. I think we were in New Bern. We moved up to New Bern just because I got a job at Cherry Point, which was a mistake. And then every once in a while we like, hey, let's go like check this place out in Jackson. Let's just go, dude. It's not. It's it's insane. It's like it grew 10x. It's so crowded. There's so much, which good for those people that like living there, but it didn't feel the same. And then that's when I was like, literally, we moved there in June, and then I think by September I was like, oh shit, we should have moved back here, But kids are in school, and I started a job, and I was like, well, like I can't just get up and leave. Like this is weird. So we ended up. I think I almost made it a year. We made it like 10 months or whatever. But honestly, we started looking. We moved in June or July. That January, I applied for jobs up here in Ohio. By February, I got the job, and then it was kind of like, well, I don't want to pull my kid out in the middle of school, so we just kind of stayed in Jacksonville, and it was all right, but it's nuts. There's like, and I don't know, maybe it was a different time in my life, but it wasn't like the same. It was just too many people and like no one I knew. So we were like, I can't.
Yeah, I didn't do anything major, just like going through there. Like, I think we took the bypass past everything to come up to you from Wilmington because that's where we were with Ryan. And
Yeah.
then going back, I think it was just down 17 and then cut across Western just to get to where Leroy's house is, which is like out past like the hunting green house and like that area.
Okay.
So you cut down Western and like all that, and then go up and pass. And I'm just like after Walmart, it was just like unrecognizable. I'm like, okay, I know where I am. 17 in Western. There's Walmart.
Yeah.
What the fuck is the rest of this?
We swung by our old house that we had, and it looked insane. Like, yeah, it's just I don't know. Maybe your memory too sometimes plays tricks on you, where you think it's like a certain way, or it's as nice as whatever. And then you get there, and you're like I took my kids to number one China buffet, right? So like that was my favorite place
Right.
to go eat. I take Audrey all the time, and I'm not kidding. For 6 years, I told everyone, I said, the best Chinese food in the world is number one China buffet. Like, you can't get any better. So we get down there, and maybe like the first few weeks, once after we're settled, I was like, hey, let's go down to Jacksonville. Like, we'll go look around some places. There was like an antique shop my wife wanted to look at. I was like, let's go get lunch at number one China buffet. And we all sat there, and it was what it was. Like, it was gross. It was horrible, and it broke my heart. And I was like, there's no way. I was like, dude, this was the best thing that like I ever. But I was like, maybe my brain, just because of other things that were happening in my life, like it was just like, yeah, this is a happy place. But when I went there, I was like, man, this is it's not the way I thought. And I think I do that a lot too, where I think most people do. You have like a memory of something, and it's generally you remember the good things, but and you block out like the bad things. So you think like, okay, this is gonna be the way it was, and it's only gonna be the happy memories because that's the only stuff that I can remember. But then you get down there, or you go back to it, and you're like, oh, this isn't what I pictured, and this isn't actually what I want, and I don't want it now. You know?
Yeah, so I had that same thing with Hardee's breakfast biscuit sandwiches. Because I was night crew for fucking ever. Like, I think I only worked days when they're like, everyone's working days because like one person got in trouble and like the random stupid shit like that.
For sure.
I was always coming in at 4, getting off at like 4, 5, or 6 in the morning, or I was midnight to 08. I was on that shift for a while. But like, I get out and I'm like, well, it's dinner time for me. What's open? Breakfast places. And just swing by Hardee's and grab some breakfast biscuit sandwiches. And they were like, I want to say it was like 2 for 2 or something like back then, whatever the fuck it was. Bacon, egg, and cheese. Nothing spectacular on a biscuit sandwich. And I'm like, sweet, amazing. These are the best things in the world. Because I was just so fucking hungry.
Yeah.
That's what it was. It was just the constant state of hunger. It's like, I need food because I'm 20, I'm hungry, I'm running or lifting weights constantly and just doing dumb shit and constantly using my mind and my brain, which fucking was 80% of your caloric intake, apparently. It's just your brain.
There was something
And
I
then the
realized.
stress levels. And,
Oh my, that, yep. So there's
yeah.
something I realized in this last year, I'll say, where I go to this jujitsu gym, and I started, late in life, so everything hurts all the time. And it's another older guy there. And I said, man, I feel like I've turned the clock back 5 years. Like I feel like for me, it's like I've always kind of jokingly said, I know how I'm doing in life. If I could go back in time 5 years and beat myself up. Like as long as I could whoop 35-year-old Sevan's ass, and then 30, I know I'm doing well in life. Well, that last couple years in, I wasn't. Everything hurt so bad. I just was like, I was in a funk. Like it's like you're exhausted. Like I don't have no other way to explain. You're just exhausted. And this past year, I feel like the clock's been going back where I feel good. Like physically, I'm like, dude, like I can wake up early. I can do things that I did in my early 30s, even like my late 20s. Like I just feel better. Like I can't, and I'm not doing anything different. Like I'm not eating anything special. Like maybe I'm, not eating as much junk food or just paying a little bit better attention to like sleeping and stuff. But the one guy said, he goes, yeah, he said cortisol and dumbbells. He goes, that's what you did for 20 years. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
He's like, dude, that stress level. And I remember you do all this blood work and stuff when you get on. You do it for your annuals and everything, but they're like, we're testing everything. So I said, okay. So they tested like my testosterone levels, and those were high, and like everything else was good. But so was my estrogen and cortisol. Like all those stress hormones, like everything was through the roof. And
Jesus.
I was like, what do I do? And they're like, dude, relax. And I was like, okay, how? Like, what do you mean, what's relaxed? I don't, and I realized I couldn't sit still. Like, if there wasn't a task to get done, I didn't, like, it didn't work. And what was crazy was you have like, I always say you have like stress and then you have anxiety, right? So like stress is like a test or a deadline or a project or like a task that you have to do. And then anxiety is your brain saying like, hey dude, wake up and like you got to start training for this test or you got to start studying for this, whatever. Like you got to do things, wake up. So like for that 20 years and even for that 4 years or 5 years, like it doesn't have to be 20, it could be for anything. You have all this stress and your anxiety has a friend, so you don't feel anything. Like you're like, yeah, this is great, this is normal. Your hormones are shot through if you're sleeping 2-3 hours a day, you're drinking or eating like shit, like you're just trucking along, but you can kind of do it in your early 20s. Like you're malleable enough that like you're gonna recover from it. But in your 30s and your late 30s, like shit gets harder and that stress is even more. And like you make it, you're done. They give you the speech, they give you the flag, and they're like, all right, dude, fuck off. You're like, all right, man, I'm done. And that first couple days is weird because it's like, well, you think you're gonna get in trouble because you're supposed to be somewhere like at work and no one's calling, and you're like, oh wait, yeah, that's it. Like I'm retired, like I'm good, like I'm done. And then you're like, well, I don't know what I want to do, and I got lucky. I had some time where I never make a decision, so I was like, all right, like I guess I'll just I don't know, hang out. I thought I was gonna take 6 months to a year off from working, and my wife laughed. She's like, "You're not gonna make it 3 days," and I was like, "No, no, like I'm fucking, dude, we're in California. I'm gonna be chill. Like I'm not doing shit. I'm gonna turn into like a beach bum. Like it's gonna be great." I think 3 days into it, my wife's like, "You have to get out of the house, or like this, like you're driving me crazy." And I'd be in the garage. I have little puzzles. I'd watch like a podcast. I'd do some puzzles. Like I would just, and I'd work out. I'd do all this normal stuff, but I didn't have like the stress. I didn't have stress to like a task to do. And I started noticing like my anxiety levels were like just creeping on me. Where I was like, what the fuck is life, dude? Life was great. It's sunny. I'm at the beach. Dude, I'd go to the beach and they were like dudes in camis like running through just eating shit. And I knew that they had to go home and eat chow and get back to work in 6 minutes. And I'm fucking loving, like, I'm like, dude, life is so good. I'm getting money. Like, I'm set. But I didn't feel good. Like, it was like it's a weird thing. So I ended up, my wife's like, you need to do something. I was like, well, I don't want to get a job because we are moving to North Carolina in a couple months. So I was like, maybe I'll volunteer. So I ended up volunteering at the Humane Society. Best job in the world. All I did was pet dogs and fucking and clean out their kennels. And I do.
That sounds great.
If I ever won the lottery, that's what I do. Not 8 hours a day, like 2-3 hours a day. I fucking had a 19-year-old kid in charge of me where it was like, Mr. Ozcan, can you watch this camera? And I was like, bro, yes. I was like, fuck yeah. I'd be there. And since I was a volunteer, most volunteers, they go in for like an hour or two. I didn't have anything. I was like, man, I already got my workout in. Kids in school till 3. My wife's doing her stuff. Like, I don't have anything to do. I would just stay there. So like, they were like, we're not paying you. Like, what are you doing? I was like, bro, I'm just cleaning. Was there anything else to clean out? Like, it was like a fun thing. But then I started noticing like, I need something. Like, I need to do something. So we get this job in North Carolina. I ended up working for, and I don't know if you'll remember, but like FRC. Remember what FRC was? So it's like all the
Fleet
engineering.
readiness crews.
it's all the engineers and like logistics support or whatever, and it's a bunch of young fucking 22-year-old engineers. And when you wonder like why is this task, or why are they telling us to do this, you think it's like some engineer that's like in his 50s. Nope, it's a 22-year-old kid that's reinventing the wheel. And me and I don't know if you remember Joe Romeo.
Yeah.
So me and him got hired. We retired about the same time, and then we got hired on. I think a day apart, a day or two apart. And it was our job was like we didn't even have a description for it. Rodney was there. I don't know if you remember McDowell. He got there
Yes.
like a year before us, and he was kind of like our supervisor ish. Like we had another dude, a civilian guy, awesome boss, like awesome. Dude, this place, there were times that me and Joe were like, I feel like we're stealing money because we worked 5 minutes, 5 minutes a week. Like it wasn't, there would be a task that was like this emergency, and like me and Joe, level 10, and they're like, no, 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 it's like if you can get it by like Monday. I was like, Monday? It's Wednesday. Like, you said emergency. He's like, yeah, we just need it fast. I was like, fast, like in 10 minutes. They're like, no, 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 no. Monday. And Fridays we got to work from home, but it was so boring. And the building was horrible. If you've ever driven to Cherry Point, you'll see it and not know it. It used to be an old like Rose's grocery store or whatever it was next to a Planet Fitness. It's like in a strip mall, no windows. So you're in cubicles like Office Space, but not funny. They have they tell me bring your walking shoes. And I'm thinking like, oh, this is like an acronym for something. What are walking shoes? And they're like, shoes to walk in. And I was like, what the fuck? And they're like, dude, at 9 a.m. and at 2 p.m., everybody goes and walks outside to get sunlight. And I was like, oh, okay. I just spent 20 years being an outside dog, and I'm so happy being an inside dog, and it paid so well. And again, bosses are freaking cool. Like, you look outside in, you're like, dude, this is the best job ever. And it was. Like, it felt like it was, because I was like, oh, this is what I want. I want the exact opposite of what I've had. I don't have, I had a boss, but, like, I never felt like I did. Like, he was always like, he was a tasker. Like, here's a task. Let me know if you can't get it done, and if you need more time, and that's it. Like, there was never, and I would just do my work. I'd meet people, but it got stuffy. You know what I mean? And Joe, which was hilarious, Joe was like, I don't think I can do this. I was like, what? He was like, dude, I don't. To his credit, he had tried to hire on as like a Jacksonville spot because he was still living there, so he was driving
Right.
like an hour 10, hour 20 a day, and then they let him do 2 days a week in the office and 2 days. But again, I would just felt like, man, it was a good job, but it's just the place. Like, it wasn't. It was like North Carolina. You're in a cubicle. Like, I belong outside. I can't be inside. Like, there wasn't. I just couldn't do it. So I remember I told my wife, and I was like, babe, I think I'm gonna get another job. And at that time, like, everything kind of worked perfectly, where her sister came down to visit, and my wife's face changed, and I was like, Carrie says that like she said the next sentence, but I know I did, where because she doesn't speak like that, she doesn't curse, but I said, what the fuck are we doing here? Like, I remember that was, I go, what are we fucking doing here? And she's like, what do you mean? I go, we have to be in Ohio. Like, your sister's there, like, your family's there. It's amazing. I love her family. I love my family too, but I loved her family. So we kind of were like, okay, like, let's try to see a couple weeks if this like feeling goes away. Maybe after the holidays, it might just be a holiday thing that you're missing. Dude, January rolled around, and I'm ready. I'm lower. I drew a dot on her house, on Cassie's house, and I did an hour circle. And I do on Google Maps. That's how I found the job. I just spread and I looked for airstrips. I found 13 major, like, not, I wouldn't say major airstrips. It was like 3 airports and like some flight schools and shit like that. And then there was like a fucking airstrip behind this church, like a grass airstrip that had like a flight club or something, little Cessnas and whatnot.
Yeah, there's one up by me. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Dude, I started looking, and when my wife was like, "Okay, like let's pull the trigger, dude," I started just cold calling them. And they're like, "How did you get this number?" I was like, "Dude, I just found it." Like they weren't advertising for jobs. I ended up getting a couple. I did a job interview for the one company that I'm working at right now. Crushed the interview because I'm good at talking. I swear to God, I think I could get into NASA if I just fucking just talked them to death. Like I could talk shit enough where they're like, I think this guy's an astronaut. But I got a good.
Yeah, until they go, how are your knees? How are you at running?
Yeah, I'm not like manipulating, but I'm kind of just I know what they want to hear and I just say it and I'm good. Like is I should just I'm just like a professional interviewee. Like I'm good at that. But I had a good interview and we jumped on the opportunity. I drove up here, like crushed the phone interviews, like, all right, dude, like we just need one more round of interviews, just like a face to face. And I was like, all right, I'll be there tomorrow. Got in the car, drove, did the interview and everything. And I remember I told my boss at that Newburn place, and I was like, hey, this is a couple months after Joe left, And they're always like, Seb, when's your turn? And I was like, no, I'm here, dude, I'm here. It's great. And then I was like, hey, dude, can I talk? And he's like, fuck. He's like, are you leaving? I was like, mm-hmm. Like, I was like, I'm sorry, like, and I told him, I said, I'll do this job remotely, because I guess during COVID they did that and they were really successful with it. They were saving money on like just maintenance and facilities and stuff like that, and people were. I mean, I don't. It's hard to say. Like, you don't want to baby someone and be like, "Hey, dude, like, we can't all just work from home." But they could, like, you'd be in the office and they'd email you. Like, a cubicle would email a cubicle over. So I'm like, dude, I think we can just do this from home. But they had some old retiree that just stuck in his ways, and you didn't see that like you're more successful with this particular group of people if you just work remotely. Like we don't need anybody in the office. Like it's a waste of money and it's a waste of time. And these people are commuting an hour. Like I told him, I said, you could pay me less, like pay me significantly less, and I'll work remotely. Like it's fine. But that didn't that didn't happen. So I ended up leaving that place. We moved here maybe 6 months ago, right? June. We moved up here. I work for an awesome company. They started out of Louisiana, which is kind of funny, but they're all up and down the East Coast. They actually they basically service and maintain the helicopters for all of like life flights and med flights and like all that stuff. I think they do a couple other things for like some of the police helicopters, kind of like a depot version, like maintenance. But I work for dude, it works 5 minutes away, and I work on like a Tinker Toy. Like it's a tiny EC-130, it's a tiny little aircraft coming from a V-22 to this. Where I'm like, bro, there's 6 wires in there. I'm like, this thing, like it's
Sweet.
and like yeah, there's some drawbacks and stuff to it. And sometimes you're annoyed, but I'm like every time where I think like I think you kind of get in comfortable with something, you're like, man, this kind of sucks. And then I just think about it where I'm like, no, this doesn't suck. This is great. Like I get to work on airplanes. They pay me well. We're here where we want to be. And I don't know, man. It's I still have to kind of like balance that work life stuff because my brain wants to just keep going and going and have something to stress about when there's nothing to stress. But like I give myself fake stress. Like the gym has always been a good one where your body thinks it's dying. I don't know if you ever worked with him, but a really good friend of mine, Jason Bellamy, he was a 266 guy. He was there maybe towards the
He, yeah, he came in. He was like one of the last
last. Yep.
classes to like come in, and
Yep.
then I started like transitioning out. But I remember him and the class that he was with, so like those kids. Yeah, I knew him.
So it was fun with him. He was, I guess, he remembered me from the schoolhouse. He was one of the students while we were there, and our careers are almost identical, but never at the same time. So same units and stuff, but different times. So we always kind of cross paths, but not. And then we ended up doing at 364. We were there for a few years, and then we always, he's someone I keep in touch with. Like, I mean, he just texted me like daily basis, and he was like, "Dude, you have to do this jujitsu thing." I was like, "Jason, I'm fucking almost 40 years old. I can't, like, sitting down and getting up from a seated position is like, that's a win, dude." And he's like, "No, you got to do this. You got to do this thing. Like, you'll love it. It'll stress your brain. Thinks it's dying. Like, it doesn't know. Like, it thinks someone's trying to murder." And it was kind of funny. Like, my whole life, I like stress. I like to be in a stressful environment. I don't like to show it, like my face, I'm always calm. I never scream. I never yell. I never get excited. But I like feeling like the world is collapsing a little bit. And then in this last year or two since I've been out, life has been so good that my brain was like, don't like it. I don't like this at all. I think a lot of us have that same issue where we like, I don't know, maybe we were successful because we were already chaotic before, and then we succeeded in a chaotic environment because we were kind of like nature, like it was part of our nature, and then that environment nurtured that fucking madness in us where we were like, oh, this is like, we're thriving. Like somebody that whose life could fall apart but still be at work at 5 in the morning, like, dude, that guy, promote that guy. And you're like, don't promote that guy, hug that guy, that guy needs help, dude. It was insane. Everybody's got a divorce. It was like a man that, like, I think to pick up gunny, it was like, I was like, is it mandatory to have a divorce? Like, you gotta have career course, you gotta run a first class PFT, and you gotta be on your second wife. Like, it was everybody, like, but it was just, you like that chaos. And when that chaos stops and life is going good, I don't think we're like purposefully, because I've heard of other people say it, I don't think we're purposefully like fucking it up. I think when things are getting fucked up, we don't stop it. Like, we enjoy it, like, and like as like almost a puzzle. So life is going good. My brain's not enjoying it. So like I learned, like, okay, I need to add safe stress. Like the gym's a safe stress. The jujitsu is a safe stress. Like doing activity, like doing things that are fun, that are, not lying down on a beach, give me like, not a purpose. It doesn't have to be a crazy thing. Washing out dog kennels was a purpose. Like, it was fun. It was like a little thing to do. I was expected to be somewhere. I showed up. Like, it was like a nice thing. I can't be one of those people that's like if I won the lottery, I don't think anyone would realize it. Like, I think if you ever see me working at like a shelter, like a dog shelter, know that I won the lottery. Like, like that. I need something. I need something to do.
Why don't you just open your own dog shelter?
We talked about that, but I don't want.
Well, like if you won the lottery.
Dude, I don't. Yeah, so we talked about that because Carrie's like, Carrie. That's what Carrie wants, and it's funny because when we were still in Jacksonville, she was trying to figure out her place and like what she wanted to do, and she worked at this place called Bob's Auto. So it was kind of like the place where you bought your fucking car, like one of those pop up places.
Yeah.
But I guess Bob's been doing pretty good. He like, you have like Stevenson Toyota or whatever Honda. Bob's got Mitsubishi. So like he used to be just like this used car salesman, and she worked there for a while and hated it, like fucking hated it. But she's like, I got to do something. And finally, I told her, hey, quit. Like, this is ridiculous. Like, it's not like they're paying you million. Like, you hate it, just quit. So she quit that job, and she ended up working at the shelter in Jacksonville. Little, like, I think it's called the Humane Society, whatever it is. Dude, best group of people, loves it. Everyone loves her. She's doing great. She's thriving. She's like, this is like, I belong here. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. And then 2 weeks later, I got orders to Arizona. So I was like,
Jesus
remember
Christ.
that job you love? I was like, you gotta quit it. We gotta go. It broke her heart, dude. We were there for a couple more months, and she's like, so every single time, like, we talk about joking, like, oh, if you won the lottery, what would you do? She'd like open up an animal shelter, like a shelter, and like maybe like doggy daycare or boarding or something like that. I was like, man, that I wouldn't know how to run that business, but it would be fun to kind of like hire the right people and then learn. Like I wouldn't want to be honestly, I don't want to run a business. I want to clean out dog kennels. Like that's what I want to do. I don't want any goddamn responsibility. Like I just want to have like, hey, somebody needs to sweep up the floor. Like, yeah, that's me. I got that. And that's perfectly fine with that, you know? Yeah.
I just want to run a pressure washer.
That's
That's
it, dude.
it.
That's it. And
Yeah.
I thought about stuff like that too, because some of the guys that I work with, like he doesn't one of the guys doesn't work there anymore, but he was again, most it's kind of funny in aviation, you'll find a lot of like former military people. Like it's weird. Um there's some like we have one kid that's he like did it traditionally. Like his dad was in aviation, so he went through the school, got his little certificate, and then whatever. But even his dad was in the Air Force for 20 something years. So like he's kind of military adjacent. But one of the guys we work with, Josh, he's, typical bunch of jobs. This guy was a realtor. So he only took the job because the benefits, the health benefits at our company was like really, really good. And he's like, dude, he's like, me and my wife had the VA. He's like, my kids don't have anything. I need to get them something. So he was doing that, but at the same time, he did I feel like everyone's a realtor. Like I don't know what a realtor actually does because I have Zillow. Like I don't need someone to help me buy
Right.
a house. But I'm sure they do important stuff. But he was running a
They tell you where to sign on the paperwork.
right. Yeah, like I could get a lawyer for that. He was running a pressure washer company, and then he did something. Oh, he hung lights, Christmas lights. So like he was doing all these little
Nice.
side, dude. The way he explained, he was kind of funny. He's like, we just do an annual. So he's like, I get all their stuff. He's like, you can buy these lights cheap on Amazon. He goes, you'll custom make it to their house. You come in, take it off their house, and then you store it in a bin. And then next year, you only charge them for like the putting up fee or whatever it is. And he's like, after a while, you just hire your own people. So I'm never satisfied. Like I'm finally doing good in life where I'm not like, I think the first 5 years, 10 years in the Marine Corps, I'm poor. Like everyone thinks, like, oh, you guys get benefits and all. I was like, dude, we don't make shit. Like there's no money. Like it's not a lucrative thing. You get a little bit older in your career and you do well, but once you get out, if you're getting out with some retirement, some benefits and stuff like that, and you get just like a little job or a good job, like you're doing well. So I always thought like, okay, if 22-year-old Sevan can see, 40-year-old Sevan, like he's like, dude, you made it. You fucking made it, dude. But 40-year-old Sevan's like, oh, well, there's still more money to go get. Like I gotta go do more. And dude, I had a great job and I'm looking for like a second, a third, a fourth. I'm looking for everything. And my wife at one point, and like I'll get really hooked on if somebody like we are watching a food truck show. And I was like, I could do a food truck. Like my brain does that for some reason. Where Josh, yeah, like dude, I was looking at food trucks and I was like, yeah, I can't. That's like a fucking all day consuming job. Like I can't. But I was looking at like plowing.
Get your mom's souvlaki recipe.
Oh my god, right? Yeah,
Fucking
yeah.
sling that out of a food truck, you'd be a millionaire.
That I could. Maybe not in Columbus. Columbus, there's a lot of that. There's a lot of Middle Eastern. Everyone we fought a war against in the last 20 years is like lives in my neighborhood, which is which
Well,
is
one, I didn't know that. My dad says it's kind of like that up in Cleveland where he lives. And,
oh yeah.
but there's also the college right there. So, like, man, them kids are hungry and they will try anything weird. It doesn't matter what you put in front of them. They're like, this is great.
I'll be honest, Columbus, man. I always thought.
Which is why Wendy's headquarters is there.
I think the original one, because yeah, I drive by it every single time. The actual headquarters building, and they have
Yeah.
like a what I forget what the building was. It was like where they try out the new food. Like it's right there, and then there's a Wendy's across the street with a huge Dave Thomas statue. I think that was the original one because it started in Dublin, which is like kind of Columbus, I think Dublin doesn't consider Columbus, but Columbus does. It's like it used to be an old farm town, but it's huge now. Columbus is huge, man. I when we
Oh, I know.
it was weird because I grew up in Boston, and that's all I know. We had family in California, so my brother's in LA, and like I was like, okay, like yeah, we got to live by an ocean. And when I first met my wife, I came up here, we did the whole long distance thing, and I came up to Ohio to come visit, and we went up to her grandpa's place, and dude, this guy kind of like not in the middle of nowhere, but kind of like out in the out in the boonies a little bit, but Walmart's close, like civilization's close, restaurant, like there's things close, but your neighbor's pretty like you can go shoot guns in his backyard and it's fine. Like it's not gonna hit anybody. And I saw he has this garage that's, I mean, 3,000, little nice house, little grandpa house, 3,000 square foot garage. Dude, he took me through a tour and I was like, what is your grandpa do? Like, is he a millionaire? He goes, no, he just like, he worked as like a bailiff for a little while and like, he just worked for the state. Like, he just had a job. And I was like, wait, what? Like, I was like, but he has a house, he has acreage, he has this fucking insane dude. When you first walked into his garage, he used to, I guess, rebuild old Corvettes, enter them in shows. Like that's in his retirement. You in the first part of his garage, you could probably fit 16 cars. It was massive. And then I walked into this, like he's taking me through, and my jaw's on the floor. He took me through this other room, and it's a paint booth. And right before you get into the paint booth that you could put a whole car in, it's like a whole room. He has all these paint guns. At the time, my girlfriend, my wife was like, pretty cool, huh? I go, do you know how much each one of these guns are? This is like a $700 paint gun. Like, they're all fucking amazing. And then you go into this other room and this other room and this other room. And I was like, bro, we gotta move to Ohio. Like, we can't live like this in Boston. This is nuts. And in my whole brain, I was like, I don't mind living in the middle of nowhere. Like, everyone has this idea. If you tell them, like, I'm moving to Ohio, they go, why? Like, they're like, ew, like, it's weird, right? I'm like, yeah, I don't mind. And my wife, at first, like, we were gonna live out, and I still like where her sister's at, up in Ashland. They got, like, a small university, but there's a lot of towns that are, like, really small out there. And you have Cleveland, but Cleveland's over there. You have Columbus, but Columbus is over there. You have Cincinnati, which apparently no one wants to live in. I've never been, but I've heard stories. They're like, don't go to Cincinnati. But
My aunt and uncle used to live in Cincinnati, and now they live in Columbus. So, it's because my cousins.
Yeah, everything.
My cousins went to college there in Columbus, and they're like, let's just move up there with the kids because it's like 2 hours away, whatever.
So when I got this job first, too, there was two positions. One was like near Cleveland, the other one was in Columbus. And with Cleveland, I was like, okay, I can live 30 or 40 minutes south, which will be right by your sisters. We can live right next to your sisters, and it'll be fine. Columbus is a little bit more of a hike. It's like an hour 20 where we want it to be, hour 30. I was like, I can't drive that every day. And when I called him up, there was another guy that was applying for a position. He only wanted Cleveland. So he was like, if I don't get Cleveland, like, maybe he was already living there. I don't know. So when the regional manager called me back, he goes, look, the other guy wants Cleveland and only Cleveland. If we give you Columbus, I go, then I'll take Columbus. Like, I'm okay with either or. And I told my wife, hey, I got good news, bad news. Good news, I got a job. Bad news, it's Columbus. It's not. She's like, babe, she goes, Columbus is great. And I was like, wait, what? Like, she's like, yeah, Columbus is fucking great. And I said, okay, like, I don't know shit about it. You do a little bit of the research, you do a little bit of YouTube and everything. And I come to find out it's the second biggest city in the Midwest after Chicago. And then I forget what it is on the list, but it was like 17th or something. It's massively bigger than Boston. Boston is what I know. So, like, we come down here, I'm like, dude, this fucking city
is bigger by population? Because I know it's bigger by, like, land mass.
Land, and I believe population, too. I'd have to look at it. Boston's really small. Like, people don't realize. But it's crowded.
I've been there.
Yeah, it's insane. Boston's insane. There's too many damn people. What Columbus reminded me of was Boston 20 years ago. Like even the suburbs and stuff like that. Like it's growing. People that live here kind of want it to stop growing because like it's swallowing up those little farm towns and stuff. And if we look at houses, I was like, all right, this city has like a cap of how big it can grow. I was like, if we move like around this circle, I think we'll be okay. That the city will never engulf us. You know, because no, I don't want to live downtown. But honestly, like we're going to another hockey game, which is something I got recently into. But hockey, like,
Yes.
dude, I live. You don't even need to take the highway. You can take Riverside Drive all the way down. It's like taking Western. You know what I mean? It's like taking Western
Yeah.
all the way down. 10 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Free parking everywhere if you can find it. If not, $5-10 for a park, and then, dude, all of the stuff there is to do here is kind of insane. So it's like I didn't know anything about this place, and then when we got here, it was yeah, love it. Like honestly, like I don't. I've always thought like I needed the beach. I was like, nah, not really. They got a big ass river. I'll get a little boat. It'll be fine. If I want the beach, like we can go to Topsail or we can go to Oceanside or whatever, and like even when we were living in California, we weren't going to the fucking beach every day. You know what I mean? Like it was just nice that it was there and you could. But yeah, that was a big thing. Was like moving up here, being close to family. Where it's kind of funny every weekend. Like we'll drive up there. We were at my nephew's wrestling tournament yesterday, so we went up there. And it's not a crazy drive. Like it's you put an hour. I have to put a history podcast. It's my other ones. My daughter's not allowed to listen to. So we listen to two British guys talk about history. Um, it's just like an hour up. That's it. Easy drive. Come back. They can come visit. Like it's nice. Yeah. It's good. And it's kind of funny where I think people that grew up on the coast don't think about like they call it what flyover states. Where I'm like, dude, there's some
Yeah.
nice fucking places. And yeah, maybe in the '80s, like there was nothing going on, but I was like, there's like cultures everywhere. Like just within walking distance from here, you have so many Middle Eastern restaurants. It's kind of fucking nuts. Like so many and good ones too. You got this Latin fusion place. You have this ramen place. This is just like, and we're not even in the city. We're out like I have a Columbus address, but we go to Dublin School District. You know what I mean? Like we're at the fucking edge.
Yeah.
If you go 10 minutes, I mean, I think to get downtown, I think it's like 12 minutes on Google Maps. Dude, there's a billion. We haven't done even a tenth of the stuff that we want to do, and we haven't gone to the same place twice. So it's kind of nice where you get stuck in an idea of like, oh, I need to go retire here or I need to go live here. And then you make like a jump where it's like fuck it jump. Like, let's just go back here. Dude, Columbus has been so good for us. Just everything in general.
So are you going to learn to ice skate then?
Dude, yeah, but I don't know.
You're from Boston. If you don't know how
How
already,
embarrassing is that? I, I asked my brother, I was like, why didn't mom and dad take us? He's like, but I don't know. Like, they were everywhere. Like, everywhere. Like, we didn't, I don't know why. First of all, I still don't get, like, my daughter was like, what are they? I go, baby, I don't know what the rules are. I don't even know if they know. It's chaotic. I'm sure, there's rules. There's fucking rules. But it's so goddamn fun. I was like, it's so fast paced, and it's just like the fans are fucking hilarious. The fans are the best, especially like we got seats. Our first seats were in the upper deck, which Nationwide has. Dude, that stadium's awesome. I don't think there's a bad seat. And then the next one we went lower. We were in the back a little bit, but we were lower, like so technically better seats. My wife's like,
like the 200 level?
huh? We were the first time we were in the second level. Second time we were in the first level, a little bit towards the back. I was trying to get to where they shoot out the. I studied it. I was counting how many times and where the pucks got off the ice, and what rows caught him. So I was like, we need seats down there. I'm trying to calculate if I can get a T-shirt and a puck. You know, I was like, I need to get those seats. But honestly, the best seats were the ones in the upper deck, because those were the people that like truly gave a shit about going to games. Because you can't buy $1,200 seats for a season every time. Like it's insane, you
No.
know. Those seats up there are $50 a pop. That's it. $50, dude, and
The
they're
hardcore
fucking
fans with season ticket holders, those are your people right there.
yeah. It was so good. So like we went up there, but yeah, man, it's nice to just kind of do those things and like yeah, it's like yeah, it's been awesome. But for the ice skating trip, so Ava likes it. I think Ava likes the idea of things as opposed to like she thinks it's gonna come. Like I bought her a guitar, it's still just standing there because she thought like, oh, if the guitar's in my hands, I'll just play it. Like it's a net like walking. It's not. So I told her, I said, baby, do you want to do ice skating? They have these little clinics everywhere. And she was like, yeah. And I was like, she's like you have to do it with me. And I said, I'll try. But the last time I tried skating was with Ryan and Mike. It was their wife, and Ryan was dating. I think he was dating someone. I forget who he was dating at the time. Melissa was there. It was my
Ryan's
wife.
baby mama.
I think it was post that, or it might have been.
Oh,
I can't
it was
remember.
either his baby mama or it was that one hairdresser that I think was working with Mike's wife.
Maybe. I think so. I can't remember.
Yeah.
Audrey was like maybe 6 or 7 at the time. So we're all like, let's go ice skating. So Audrey is natural at anything. It's insane. First time I ever took her roller skating, she was like falling all over the place, and every lap was like 10 years of experience. It was insane. So when we put her on these ice skates, like she started off with the little PVC pipe walker thing to help like kids stand up. Dude, third lap she's skating. Like she's not doing tricks or nothing, but I was like, holy shit. I was like, okay, like in the time it took for me to lace up my boots, my skates, she's already skating. I was like, oh fuck, I got this. Like I know how to do this. Like I'll be fine. I couldn't stand. Not skate. I couldn't stand still upright. I couldn't. I was laughing so much because Ryan was kind of helping me. And he goes, dude, what are you doing? I go, I don't know. I go, how are you standing? Like, which way are you? Like, what are you doing with your feet? He goes, just stand still. I go, dude, I can't. My feet just kept fucking going. And I remember
Right.
every time I was stumbling and I'd fall, when I picked myself back up, I would move like a foot forward. So now the door is like 4 or 5 feet behind me. This fucking skating ring, I gotta go all the way around it to get back to this goddamn door. Because you can't go backwards. You know, people are coming. So I'm like, Ryan, get me to the goddamn
Yeah.
edge. Get me to the edge. So I like have my fingers, because there isn't like a ledge that you can kind of grip or pull, like, you know, like a roller skating ring. There's just this little fucking edge. And I could, dude, I could, like, and my wife was like, because Melissa and Ryan's girlfriend, they're dying from laughter. It's hysterical. I'm laughing. Carrie's getting, she's like, stop, he's trying his best. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? I've never been so bad at anything in my life. I think I could juggle better than that. You know what I mean? Like, I've never, and dude, I'm not someone that gives up, and I'm someone that it's in my brain where I'm like, I have to learn how to skate once, and then I could never do it again. But like, I have to beat this thing. So I was thinking about it when Ava goes in. I was like, maybe I'll get her private lessons, and then I'll just be like, hey, dude, like, here's an extra $20. Like, don't tell anyone what's going on in here, but like, I need to learn how to skate too. I don't think I'll ever be able to play hockey, like even like a pickup game, because like, dude, they make it look so easy. But I'm like, if someone bumps into me, like it's game over, and it's gonna take 2 or 3 people to get me up. Like I can't. It's just nuts, dude. Yeah, it's nuts how they can skate backwards. And I think if there was ever a sport though that I could play professionally, I'm not saying that like I'm saying there's a 1 in a trillion chance I could play professional hockey. I don't even think there's 1 in like quadrillion chance I could be in the NBA. Like if there is a sport, I think hockey seems to be still the most accessible to like Joe Schmo off the street. Like I think it's like somebody's dad could still make it into the NHL. I feel like, you know, and maybe that's downplaying the like athleticism
So
of hockey players.
yeah, like you're vastly underscoring it because it's like the first problem is okay, can I skate? The second problem is can I handle the puck? Cool. Now can I handle the puck without fucking looking at it? Because the second you look down at that puck, someone is leveling you.
Dude, dude, yeah, I do, yeah,
Unless you're the goalie.
yeah, and that's an insane
And
thing
then the
too.
third problem is after maybe that's the fourth. After being able to puck handle, is like, cool. Can I fight with these razor blades on my feet now?
That's the one thing we missed. So we have, dude, the games. We've only been to 2 games, so I'm not like I feel weird because my wife after the first game she's like we have to buy jerseys and hats and shit, and I was like, no,
Yes.
because and this is coming from a good place. I don't want to be that guy. Like I don't want to be like was it a poser? They used to call it. I hate telling
Yeah.
people I'm from Boston because the first thing they do, depending on the time of the year, they're like, "Bro, you see this Red Sox?" I'm like, "No, no." One kid saw I have a Boston hoodie. One kid goes, "Dude, your boy's got a chance this year," and I was like, "I have no idea. Like, I have daughters. I don't which." And then I was like, "Oh, you're holding a basketball. You must be talking about the Celtics. They do have a chance this year. That's amazing. I don't know. I'm the worst sports fan coming from a place that's like probably one of the best sports cities. You know what I mean? So like I feel like if you're gonna wear the jersey, you gotta know the players' names. You gotta have watched them a season or two. Like you have to kind of fucking earn it a little bit, you know. I always tell people I'm a fan of Boston fans because they're funny. That's a good place to go watch a game and go people watching. So like we've only been to 2 hockey games. Apparently they're doing really fucking well. So I told them, I said, we're gonna print out their schedule and we'll do it next year too, where we gotta watch a few home games and like let's because the it's such a cheap thing to do and there's always tickets and it's such an easy thing to go like, hey, you want to go to a game today? Like you're gonna get tickets that day. Like it's like the old Red Sox and old Celtics when like it's not sold out ever. There's space, there's room left. So our first game we went to, it was back and forth. We come back. They pull the fucking goalie out. It's a power play. These are all words I'm learning new. It's a fucking power play. They tie it up. They're doing those. I didn't know that their overtime was 3-on-3. That confused the shit out of me. So they're doing that, and then there's a fucking shootout, and I'm like, bro,
Yep.
this is the great. Like this is every game, everything in the game that like is in a movie. The only thing that didn't happen, and it got close. Against Boston. There was 3 fights that got broken up by the referee, and I mean people are howling. They're like, dude, if you fucking stop another fight, like stick down, gloves off. They're about to goddamn. I was like, please, just fucking swing. That's the only thing left that I kind of want to see. Which I think that's why hockey's such an amazing game. It's okay to fight. Like
Yep.
and it's not a big deal. Like a few minutes. Like you just gotta sit down for 5 minutes for fighting, I think, right? You just gotta sit down just for
Yeah.
a couple minutes and think about what you did. Okay? And then you can come back. If you want to hit someone again, dude, you're not gonna get kicked out of the game. You're just gonna go sit back down
Oh,
for 5 minutes.
they don't think about what they did. They're fucking ready to go again. They're like, motherfucker, I will kill you. You go fuck yourself. You hit my skill player again. I'm gonna fucking take you out.
And I remember there was a game I watched on TV. I'd seen a clip of it, I should say, where at the beginning of they dropped the puck and 3 different sets of people dropped their sticks and gloves and all got into, and the refs were like, yeah, we knew what was happening. It was almost like it was discussed because I guess a game that they had the
It
season
is.
before ended so badly that they were like, we're waiting. Dude, they waited a year for this. I don't even think the same people were on that team. They were just like, hey, you're on our team now. You just made it through the draft. You have to fight this dude. And he's like, yeah, I got it. I'm going to go fight him. If they did that
If you want to
with
look up some
basketball,
amazing ones, late 90s, Colorado Avalanche versus Detroit Red Wings. They were brutal fucking rivals. Like, Detroit checked one of the skill players for the Avalanche. Like, so you know where the benches are, like where all the players sit, and the glass comes like that.
Yeah.
So along the ice, they checked a fucking skill player into that corner, knocked him out fucking cold. Bench clearing brawl. Like, both teams just fucking went at it.
You know what's another thing that
Goalies and everything.
The thing that confused the shit out of me? So I didn't realize how often sticks break and sticks get knocked loose. You know? So like you're watching and you're like following the puck and everything, and then you see a guy without a stick. And I was like, dude, what's going on? And then the guy, guy next to me is like, oh, his stick's broken. Why didn't he get another one? Like, just you can't swing by, dude. This guy, I'm not kidding, had his hands out like he was the fucking go, and he was trying to catch the puck, and I was like, bro, go get a stick, go switch out. But it was so funny to see that, like, yeah, more like not more often than not, more often than you think. There's a dude on the ice who's just like, I'm just here, dude. I'm gonna hit you. I don't even have a stick. Like, this is who I am. I'm just a guy with skates and two hands. Yeah, it's definitely cool. And it's something nice that like the family can do together. And there's again downtown, like that area, dude, it's such a cool place. Like the city kind of in that area shuts down. There's no traffic. Like you can't drive through the place. Cops are there. They're directing traffic. They're making sure like everybody gets to the game. Fuck, Saturdays here. You cannot go downtown because Ohio State football is it's insane. Like I've never seen in my life people so dedicated to it. There's like you'll go somewhere where like there's a guy that's like in like business attire, like he's a responsible guy, and his polo has Ohio State on it. Like his dress shirt has Ohio State. Like it's fucking insane. Their stadium is bigger than most NFL stadiums. That's fucking nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. Like sports here are cool. I don't really want to go up to see. I still call them the Indians. I forget what their names are. Cleveland
Guardians.
Guardians.
They're the Guardians. That's the only place I've seen a major league ball game.
I would like to go take my kid there, but the other thing is down here they have like their AAA team or not G League is basketball. Yes, I guess they're AAA. Like they have, dude, you can catch a game here for almost nothing, and it's honestly at the end of the day, I was like, I don't really give a shit about like who's winning. I just want to go enjoy like a game. It's like a fun thing to go see and watch. And Ohio State has a bunch of stuff here. I guess my wife found their hockey teams like $4 tickets, and I was like, "Fuck yeah, dude! Let's just go to one of their hockey games."
Hell yeah! Oh, you want to hear a fucking crazy hockey story? This just happened recently in my hometown. So my hometown, it's got the small state college in it, State University of New York at Fredonia.
Yeah.
And they got a hockey team. Nothing fucking special in collegiate sports. I think it's like, I don't even know, like fucking Division 3, I guess.
Sure.
They're not anything good. Like my one buddy that I lift weights played goalie for them. And so a couple weeks ago, you might have fucking saw this. Apparently, one of the hugest fucking hockey fans in the world is Charles Barkley. Like NBA analyst Charles Barkley. He came to Fredonia State to watch the alumni hockey game, and then fucking went to one of the bars and bought a round of drinks for everyone, and had the time of his life, and then talked about it the next Monday on like NBA show with Shaquille O'Neal, and I'm like,
that's
what the fuck?
Like just because he was like, this will be fun. I want to go see a random game.
They invited him.
Dude, that's cool. That's cool.
They invited him to alumni weekend for like because like it's like a big alumni thing, and like
he's not an alumni.
So my buddy who played,
yeah, like Charles Barkley getting okay. I was like, that'd be a.
He never played there. He doesn't have a kid there. Like they're just like, hey, you want to come? Like, watch the hockey game. We'll like ride on the Zamboni.
They shot their shot, and they were like, maybe he'll show up. That's pretty fucking cool.
Yeah, but apparently, like Charles Barkley is legitimately a huge hockey fan. Like he loves the sport, like Snoop Dogg does. Snoop Dogg's a big Anaheim fan.
That's so weird. Hockey's an easy sport
Yeah,
to kind of get into though, because you don't have to. I feel like you don't have to know a lot, and it is a more fun environment. Baseball's cool. Baseball's always nice because it's nice outside. You know what I mean? So it's like a nice thing to go, but it's like plays too slow. Football's the goddamn worst. Football, I swear to God, football is only around because it works perfectly for commercial breaks. Somebody told me,
yeah.
and I didn't time it, but it makes fucking sense to me. In an entire football game, there's only 12 minutes of actual play time, of actual, like, somebody's got the ball and somebody's running, blocking with 12 fucking minutes. Basketball is okay until the last two. So like if there's a team that's gonna blow someone out, you're like, I don't really give a shit. You know, like we know like this you don't even have to watch that game. You know they're gonna win by 30. And if it's a close game, you don't really have to watch until the last 2 minutes. Like everyone is just fucking talking shit and then it gets quiet for about, takes 12 minutes to get to the last two. Hockey, when we went to go I say we as if I was playing, when fucking Blue Jackets we're playing Boston. My wife's like, "Oh, we have to go to this Boston game. Like, this will be cool." I was like, "Yeah, it'd be fine. I've never seen a Bruins game." Everyone was like, "Bruins are gonna. It's not even gonna be close. Bruins are gonna crush them." And I was like, "Oh yeah, like I don't give a shit, dude." And I love an underdog. I don't care who it is. When the Blue Jackets were winning, I could see, I fucking got into it, and I was like, it's like that weird like it happens during the Olympics. Like nobody gives a shit about badminton until their team's like in the Olympics, you know. So it's like so you start getting pumped for them, and usually like, dude, you see like how you just start talking. But it was like an easy because I didn't know the rules. I kind of like from video games when I was a little kid. I kind of get like there's an offsides type thing that I know that blue line's kind of fucking important. I know what like a play like there's. I know there's rules. I'm not dumb. There's obviously rules, but it doesn't seem like there's as many. Like it just seems like we're just gonna fucking let them play. The line changes were insane too, where I was like, ish fucking. Because sometimes you just see the dude behind the net and you're like, what are you doing? Fucking move, dude. And then you see like 10 people go on and on. You're like, oh, okay. They were just fucking. And then they'll do a line change and the other team will fuck it up or something. They're just off by a second and that guy breaks away. We got to go like that. And I was like, hold, like, it's just excitement the entire fucking time. And you're like, oh, this is a good sport. This is a
And
fun,
then they give you a pee
exciting.
break, and then it's 20 more minutes of
Shut up.
excitement.
15-minute pee break is much appreciated. Like that's fucking awesome. Like yeah, the hockey has the best cadence. I think of like, all right, we're gonna take a break. We're gonna do some shit. We'll throw some t-shirts out and we're playing. So it's like, and that 15 minutes of play is 15 minutes of play. Like it's this constant. And that's the other thing too is like you're not football. Like you're there for like it's a fucking all day event. Like yeah, sure, tailgating's fun, but dude, it's 6 hours. I'm exhausted. Like you're there, what hour 15? They do a little couple things. They let the kids play. The Zamboni comes out every once in a while and they do their shit. But it's like not an all day event. I think I'm gonna be a hockey fan. I'm gonna try skating. Fuck it. But I want to watch. Yeah, I want to watch some
If you need
games.
help with that, let me know. I'll grab my skates. I'll come teach you.
Yeah, I just don't want to tear anything. That's the only thing I'm worried, dude. I've had two shoulder surgeries, and I always joke. I say this one's 18 and this one's 22. Like, like it's if they feel great. Like as long as I'm mindful of them and I work them out, but I also like stretch them and I kind of jujitsu has definitely fucking helped, dude. It's unintentionally stretched me out where my shoulders feel good again, but my knees and my hips, I'm like, if I don't hip surgery for sure. I don't think I like no one survives that. Knee, people told me like knees are okay because they just do a hinge. I was like, I just don't want to tear anything. And I would never and I'm jinxing myself. I've never been hurt lifting weights, doing stupid things. I don't get hurt doing jujitsu, doing stupid things. I get hurt. when I sneeze and pick up something off the floor. You know what I mean? So I was like, if I'm gonna do something as silly
So
as
have you
like
started yoga like I told you?
yoga,
Have you tried it yet?
I downloaded the app, dude. I do stretch. I stretch at practice and I stretch often enough, but something that I need to get better about. So like in this little man cave that I have, if I want to watch shows that like no one else wants to watch, like I rewatched Breaking Bad, I have a little stepper. It's not a treadmill. It's like when people are working at their desk, like a walking fucking desk
Oh,
or
the thing
whatever.
that just like moves your feet?
But it doesn't even move your feet. It's a 3 foot treadmill. It's tiny, and it's
Oh,
literally just for walking. So I'll watch TV, and dude, something that's honestly got helped me a lot. It sounds so fucking stupid to say it out loud. Just getting my steps in. Like I have noticed,
hmm.
because even like walking, like my job, I'll walk, but you're not doing a lot of walking. Like it's physical, but you're like static in a place. And yeah, workout is fine, and doing jujitsu is a insane cardio, but it's a different cardio. But just to kind of
I
get like,
wrestled. I know.
just to get a little bit of something else, I just make sure I get like 10,000 steps, 15,000 steps. You watch TV for an hour, I think that's like 6 or 7,000 steps. At the end of the day, if I'm like, oh, I got to walk a little bit more, it's just something nice to kind of do. And I don't know, dude. Just that again, my brain is not normal. I've had enough people look at it where they're like, "There's something going on up there." It's not bad. It doesn't work like everything else should. So like, again, I can't sit still and enjoy a TV episode. Like I have to be doing something, puzzles, which is silly, but I gotta do some walking. The one thing that honestly I need to do is stretch. So like my buddy was like, dude, just while you're watching TV, he's like, just bring your foot to your face. He's like, that's the only like just to get your hips loose and your knees loose. He's like, because everything else I feel pretty good, but my hips are so damn tight all of the time. And like the idea of like going to yoga or the idea of just doing stretching, I'm like, ugh, dude, who does stretching? Who does running? It's stupid. I'll play a sport that involves a lot of running, but you're just gonna like it sounds. I can't do the things that make you good at sports. I like rather do the sport. You know, what I mean? I know how valuable stretching is. I can't do it. So I was like, well, I could do this walking and watching TV thing. So if I'm just not paying attention to stretching, but if I just sit there and literally my buddy was like, dude, just bring your foot to your face and hold it and then just watch TV like that way. It's you're good. It looks silly, but yeah, I need to. Especially like it's silly to say like at this age, dude. I feel 18 for about an hour a day. Still in the gym, I got zero problems. Jiu-jitsu, zero problems. I can take a beating, take a fall, hold my own. Like I feel fucking amazing. And then there's this 30-minute period I have where I have to take a shower and lay still because my body goes like this. And if I'm not in my finishing position where I'm like, this is how I sleep tonight, dude, I can't, like, I'll be in bed and I can't just simply roll over. I gotta kick that leg up to get it. And then the next day, everything is so tight that I just, I'll loosen it up by walking. But I remember, I mean, everyone in their younger years, like, you'd be fucking hung over, go for a run, fall down some stairs, like, be okay. Like, I haven't fallen down. I think I've fallen down once in the last 10 years. Like, I'm like, dude, I can't fall down. I don't think I'll get up. Like, an accidental fall, like, it's just too tight. But I will say, after my injuries, and like, I got a bunch, just from living life and doing the jobs that you do and realizing even stuff is like not acute, it's like accumulative. The best thing that ever happened to my lower back was my shoulder surgery because I stopped flying for 6 months while that recovered. Dude, my back pain went away. So I was like, oh, and talking to one of the ladies that works, they actually have a plane out in Wright Patterson out here in, I guess it's near Dayton, where they deal with like the ergonomics and stuff of like, nerd shit for the plane. She's like, honey, she's like, that thing is a washing machine. It's just vibrating. And then there's that vibration has nowhere to go but through you. And I was like, every flight I've ever had, I felt like I was buzzing for hours. Like it was like such a weird feeling. She's like, yeah, that's all. I mean, I got lucky in my career where I wasn't a flyer. Like I wasn't. That wasn't my main job. I had a third of the hours that someone that had been flying as long as me, like as the length of, they have 3,000 to 4,000 hours. I got not even 1,000. So like physically, I was okay. Dude, there's guys plates in their neck, fucking court, like just fucked up. And I realized like after my injuries, I got smart about stuff where I was like, okay, I can't redline it the entire time because I can't. Like I can do it for 2 weeks, but I can't do it for the third week. Like you just can't put as many minutes in. You can't do that. If I had an injury, all my pre workout stuff is all my post surgery exercises. So everything they had me do, like when I tore both shoulders and I'd lived with it for years. But when I finally decided to get this surgery done, dude, I'm terrified. There's the end of my career. I was like, I have to make it to my last reenlistment, and then I'll get my surgery. And that's what I did. As soon as I said I do, they put up, I got my rank. I reenlisted. I go, hey, I need to go get surgery. So they're like, okay. It's prime COVID, like peak COVID. I talked to the guy, and he's like, do you have any concerns? I go, yeah, like I'm done, right? And he's like, what do you mean? I go, yeah, no more gym, no more workout, no more nothing. He's like, dude, we're fixing your shoulder. I was like, yeah, but like you get surgery and it's over with. He goes, I played college baseball, my like, big school, all this stuff. He goes, I got the same surgery I'm about to do to you. Same thing. And I was like, all right, what are you gonna do? He's like, we're gonna put in a couple anchors for the shit that's torn. He goes, we're gonna shave off a little bit of the AC joint so there's space so you don't have that pain. And he goes, we're gonna relocate your bicep tendon. And I was like, what the fuck? Why? He's like, and I guess what's crazy is a lot of times though that second tendon, they just cut and they let it atrophy. And he told me there was two NFL quarterbacks, one on a throwing arm and one on a non-throwing arm. I don't remember who got the same fucking surgery. And I was like, wait, like they didn't miss a season. He's like, no, they just you'll recover quick. Like 6 months, you'll be good, and by a year, like you're set, like you're good. And I didn't believe him really. I was like, okay, whatever. Like it is what it is. My arm could be just what it is. So we do the whole surgery. Never been put under. It felt like teleporting. I get why like Michael Jackson like that propofol shit because it's like, dude, it's the best sleep I've ever gotten in my life. They did the surgery. My arm's fucked, and that's like I'm super sad, so sad, my like pathetic sad. And my wife was like, "Dude, you need stuff to do," so she got me puzzles. Which, side note, my brain, the chaos and stress that it loves, gets the same. If chaos and stress and all that shit is heroin, puzzles are methadone. My brain got the same itch scratch from literally doing like a Ninja Turtles puzzle. So as long as I did that and like put myself in a brace and went and walked in the desert for hours, like that stress was like kept my anxiety good. But I get this
Have
surgery
you ever played with Legos as an adult?
as a kid, not as an adult, but like
Like as a kid, I just fucked around and made stuff. I got my girlfriend.
We did a
The
couple things.
You ever seen the Lego flower sets?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I've done some stuff like that where like my wife got it as like a gag gift or whatever. Because I'm not kidding. I would do puzzles. I haven't done one in a while, but I was doing them. There was always a puzzle to do. So like you can't move your arm. Your brain needs activity. I could go walk. I'd go put a water bottle. I'd put a podcast on, and I'd go walk on base, which is in the desert, for hours, and I mean fucking hours. And then I would kind of get all that out. But my arm was like, it was okay. Like I could kind of move it, but not where I wanted it to. And once they gave me the okay, my surgeon was awesome. He was like, dude, get your fucking arm out of that sling now. And I was like, but the guy said 12 weeks. He goes, bullshit. He goes, like 3 weeks. He goes, don't fucking do anything. He goes, just get it out of the sling and do the exercises. So the exercises are literally just like these. You grab your arm and you do these little like inch circle things. I was like, bro, that's not doing shit. He's like, just keep doing them. So when I went to like the actual physical therapist, who at the beginning was like same stuff, like we're not doing anything other than just moving the arm like a couple inches. I asked him about this, the football player, and he's like, yeah, dude. He goes, same surgery. I go, okay, what was his fucking like protocol for the post surgery stuff? He goes, same exercises you're doing. Like, dude, like, no, come on. Like, what was he doing? He goes, same fucking exercises. He's like, your shoulder does one thing. Like, you just, we didn't have fancy, like, different ones. He's like, we were doing the same exercise. I go, okay, but he had, like, machines and shit, right? He goes, no. Like, he had fucking same shit. He goes, now, he goes, you get an ice pack. This guy got, like, a fucking, sleeve that, like, in California, they have the same one. You put this fucking harness on, and it shoots cold water constantly through it. In fucking Yuma, they're like, we got crushed ice. So, but he's like, that's all you need. He's like, same stuff. I go, well, how did this fucking guy recover? He goes, because it was his job. So he was religious about it. So here I am at that point, 35 years old. I'm thinking I have like a career-ending injury. Like I don't get to do my shit anymore. This guy's telling me like, hey, these sports athletes, which I'm not. I mean, those guys are peak. Are they're fucking animals? Like peak condition. But he's telling me like, yeah, like you're never gonna throw a football in the NFL ever, but you never could before anyway. This guy is just getting back to his 100%. You can get to your 100%. I was like, fuck, okay. So that got me excited. And I was like, all right, what was his protocol? He goes, he did these exercises 5 times a day. He goes, we schedule you 2 times a week here because we're on base. We don't have a lot of room. He goes, but go home and do them. So, dude, I did these fucking stretches and exercises on my right shoulder. Dude, alarm. I had a 3 hour alarm on my phone. It would go off. I do my shit wherever I was. By they thought at 6 months I would the test was because of the bicep that was like the worst injury, even though they cut it. 6 months I'd be allowed to curl like a 2 pound dumbbell. Dude, by month three, I'm fucking because I am an animal, like I'm not smart. I'm like maxing out their machines on this other shoulder shit. And he's like, dude, stop. And I used to tell him, I go, look, if like a 115-pound chick came in here, you tell her to use the 2 pound dumbbell. I'm not 115 pounds. Like we did start. I'm not in the NFL, but I'm also not fucking pin two. Like I can do pin 10. But I was doing it religiously, and they have a protocol of like, this is when the doctor will see you. And I was like, fuck that. Dude was eating a sandwich. I said, hey doc, I've been in here every chance I got. I do these exercises. Like, can you do my evaluation like now? And he's like, all right. Like, how many weeks have you been in? I go, oh, I just 12 weeks. He goes, no, dude. He goes, like, it's 20, 25, 26 weeks is when I'll do your evaluation. I go, yeah, let me see where I'm at. So he does all these fucking exercises. I'm like arm wrestling the dude basically. I'm doing all of this stuff, and he's like, bro, this is amazing. So I told him, I go, yeah, your guy talked to me about this quarterback 5 times a day. I go, so I'm doing it 5 times a day, every fucking day. And I showed him the chart. I was like, dude, I'm a nerd. I'm OCD with this. Like, I am putting so much effort into this recovery shit. He goes, all right, dude, let's see your range of motion. So again, my whole life, I've never been a stretchy person. Like I'm not flexible. I have no range of motion. Dude, I'm crushing it. He's like, man, he goes, this is amazing. I go, yeah, I've never been able to put my arm this far back. Ever. Ever. I tell him I do this thing with the PVC pipe. I fucking yank on it. Like, dude, I'm crushing. He goes, all right, great. He goes, all right, let's do the other side. I go, oh no, I just surgery on the right shoulder, doc. He goes, yeah. Have you been stretching your left arm? And I was like, no. He's like, what? I go, yeah, this is injured. This is fine. And he goes, why would you stretch out the other side? I go, because it wasn't fucking injured. What do you? And he's like, bro. He goes, lie down. So we do the range of motion. He goes, it's horrible. It was funny because like I could do like all the way, and this arm would go like maybe 90. And he's like, dude, what the hell? And I was like, I should have done both, huh? And he's like, yeah, you should have done both. So my brain, again, you, you don't think you're an idiot until something is out loud where you're like, why didn't I stretch the other side? How? If I were him, I'm making fun of me every day. I'm like, you're an idiot. You didn't stretch the other side. What are you doing? So my mentality was like, oh, stretching is for them, walking is for them, yoga is for them, everything else is for them. Those people do it, and that's dude. It's amazing that they do that. Look how flexible he is. He stretches. I never thought said like you could be flexible. I just thought, dude, you are the way you are. These are the things you're good at. These are the things you're not good at. So my brain switched at that moment where I was like, oh, I'm the guy that stretches both sides now. Like, and that in my, I swear to God, if I had learned, if I could go back in time, like I would go back to like Jesus time to check that out, the pyramids, and then my 20-year-old self, and I'd be like, look, we're gonna fucking have a couple conversations, okay? You're an idiot. So we're gonna do these things early. Don't wait till you're 40. You're gonna do them as 20 to bulletproof your body so you don't have to do them. I got lucky where I got injured, not so bad that it was something devastating. Like, dude, you see guys, he had a same shoulder injury as I did when he was a kid, waited till he was a master guns because, your life and career get in the way. He can't hang from a pull up bar. The arm won't straighten out. So the weight
Damn.
won't straighten his arm out. It gets stuck right here. So he can't push. He can't fucking. I mean, I don't know how the fuck guy goes fishing. Like, and I was like, oh my God, thank God I got these little. And they weren't little, but they were small enough where I recovered. And I'm like, okay, 40-year-old Sevan can still fuck up 35-year-old Sevan. Like, that's my metric, but I can still. Now I know there's gonna be a time where 70-year-old probably couldn't beat up 65 or maybe 85, but I wanted to get to the point where if somebody saw me at 50, they were like, dude, that guy looks good for 45. Like I don't need anything incredible. I just wanted to be a little bit physically better and younger in shape. And it was literally injuries like that and just thinking of like, oh, I gotta do like people say, like you said, dude, go do yoga. And I was like, do I do yoga? Like it never crossed my mind where I was like, yeah, I can. It doesn't have to be a big deal. Like you're not telling me like, hey, give up everything, go put on some tights, go to the session and go do yoga. You're just like, dude, you should probably fucking do this every once in a while. Life will be more enjoyable.
That's the way I look at it. It's just kind of like, all right, well, I contracted the muscle a bunch. I gotta do the opposite. Just fucking. Uh,
And it makes everything else better too.
yeah.
Because like getting up in the morning and not hurting is like it's a nice feeling.
Being able to get up out of bed pain free and just be like, I got it.
Yeah, and like just you see people like shoveling, which I do. People think I'm crazy. I love the winter so much. I love fucking snow. It is my happy place. I love shoveling it. I love everything about snow. I won't get a snowblower. Dude, there's nothing more fun than shoveling. It just feels good to do it. But, you see some people and it's like, my dad or whatever, and they're older and it's like I remember as a kid, my grandpa was 65, 70 years old, and then he passed away, at 74. He was ancient. Like the entire time I had a memory of my grandpa, he was a grandfather. He was ancient, like a grandpa. And now at 40, like I'm looking at pictures and stuff of like my dad, and I could just do math. Well, I'm like, all right, when I was 10, my dad was 40, and my grandpa was like 65 or whatever it was. Like, why did I think he looked 90? He wasn't 90. The guy was in his 60s. Like, that's not, you're still, like, you can still be a 65-year-old athlete. Like, you be athletic at that level. You can do
You could
something.
play softball
Yeah. Dude, yeah, you could do
or
something.
something.
You could shovel your goddamn snow. You know what I mean? So it was like, even like my dad, because my daughter, me and my dad are 30 years, almost to the month apart. They're both February birthdays, January, so like 30 years exactly apart. And it's kind of funny because with Ava, she's 10, you know, I'm about to be 40. And I remember myself as a 10-year-old looking at my dad, and I don't feel like one. You know, I forget sometimes that I'm not, dude, I think my brain got stuck somewhere like in the early 20s. Like, I forget sometimes. Like, I feel like my dad was a more professional dad. Like, he was more like suit tie dad. You know what I mean? Like, he felt like a dad. Like, I'm just Sev that has kids, and like they made it. You know, like they're like my oldest is an amazing human being. She's like a good human, a good person. My brother texted me the other day and said, "Hey, you know, Audrey texted me about because he's in LA for the fires." And he's like, dude, you raised a good kid. Like, she has a good heart. And I was like, I don't fucking know what I did. I don't, you know, like, I don't feel, I had a different impression of what dads were, even physically, where I was like, yeah, once you hit this age, like, you can't do things anymore. You know, they tell you to start jujitsu. And I was like, dude, at 4, that has gone, that's been gone so long ago. Like, that, there's no way. And I'm loving it, dude. Like, 2, 3 times a week. Sometimes I'll get stupid, do it 4 or 5 times, which is like way too goddamn much. Because it's, you know, I think even at 25, you got to kind of be smart and rest, you know, train hard, but rest hard. But like these things, even like ice skating, forever, I'm like, dude, I don't ice skate, but you could. Like, go put on some skates. You might like it. So it's kind of funny in my older age where I'm starting to realize, like, oh, there's things that I can do. Like, I am, dude, if I want ice cream for dinner, I can have it. I'm a fucking grown up. You know, if I want to go ice skating, I can
Okay,
do it.
good.
The only person telling me, like, it's not for me is literally me. Like, a funny one, actually. I'll tell you this story. And this sums up a good of like how my brain works. When I was little, we didn't have a lot of money. I was aware of it, but I didn't care. So like the Tic Tacs, from the orange Tic Tacs, I used to. That was me. Like I want. I'm gonna get them. Like I wasn't aware of shit. And you know, my mom they did a fucking amazing job. They raised 2 kids, and my brother was a little bit older, but he's a little bit more aware. But we got everything we needed, and stuff like when it came to like soccer cleats or whatever for sports. Other things we might have got in the cheaper version of, but the stuff that was important, my dad got me the best cleats because that's you're gonna use them. You should get the best stuff. Bought me a guitar, like and a nice guitar. Like you get you get you get the nice stuff for that. You know what I mean? So when
Oh,
we
yeah.
start shopping, we go to the mall, and I always liked the pretzel place. I always wanted pretzels, and it was right next to the. They had like this little, which I don't even know if they do them anymore, but it was like you could adopt dogs and rabbits and cats and shit. And they got smart. I used to go in there and
Yes.
say, can I pet the dogs? And they were like, no. So I'd stick my arm up and over the cage because in the front of their store, it's in the mall. The glass only went up so high, and you could reach over and kind of touch a bunny rabbit, Because I never got pets as a fucking kid. Um, but I'd always want a pretzel. So I'd eat my pretzel at that bench. And if it was just me and my mom and we, watch the rabbits, and sometimes like the nice lady would let me go pet a fucking dog. If my brother was there, he liked getting the Cinnabons. So me, the little asshole that I am, my mom's like, look, man, like we can't do again, I'm aware of the situation we were in, and I know we were poor. My mom hates that word, but I know we were poor. I never felt fucking poor though. Like we had everything. So my mom buying us pretzels is a big fucking deal. My mom buying Cinnabon, it's a big fucking deal. Like we need money for food and clothes and books and rent. Like this is not we don't fucking need this, but she saw the importance of like, hey, these kids also need a fucking pretzel. Like that is a need. Kid needs to grow up and have these things. But my mom trying to be nice was like, because my brother was little too. It was like, okay, do you guys want pretzel or do you want Cinnabon? So my brother was like, Cinnabon, please. And he was an amazing, still is an amazing brother. Where he'd be like, oh, Seven wants a pretzel, we'll get a pretzel. And she's like, no, Seven got a fucking pretzel last time. Like we're gonna get a Cinnabon. And I would throw a goddamn fit. I would throw a fucking fit. And I'd be like, I don't like Cinnabons. They're disgusting. I'll throw up if I eat it. Like I know. And You want a
Jesus.
Cinnabon? Dude, I was a fucking shitty little kid, dude. I deserved every ass whooping I got. So we sit at the table. I remember my mom is like, honey, try the Cinnabon. You're gonna like it. And I'm like, nope, gross. I've had them. They're gross. I'm lying to her. 30 years. No, not 30. Because it was Audrey. So I'd say about 20 years passes by. I'm now an adult, a dad. Audrey's, oh man, I don't know, 5 years old, something like that. And we find ourselves at a mall. And, we're by the food court. She's like, Dad, I'm hungry. Can we get a treat? I was like, yeah, let's get a treat. I go, they got pretzels. My brain goes, they got pretzels down there. There's a pretzel wetzel right down there. She goes, no, I don't want pretzels. Can we try that? Points to a fucking legit Cinnabon. I go, oh, baby, you're not going to like that. Those are gross. I legit, dude. And I meant it. I wasn't trying to, anything she ever wanted to try. She wasn't a picky eater. If she wanted to try it, I'd let her get it. And she's like, I don't like this. I'd be like, okay, cool. My fucking brain goes, no, baby, that's gross. I said that to her. I've never told her anything was gross. I always wanted to try stuff. But I want to save her from this disgusting Cinnabon. So she goes, Daddy, I don't mind. I want to try it. I go, you know what? You're a brave kid. That's awesome. Yeah, let's try it. And if you don't like it, we'll throw it away. We'll go get some pretzels, So we're sitting there. One Cinnabon, please. That's the Cinnabon. She cuts into it, and my body is like rejecting it already. It was like, ugh, gross. She takes a bite, and she goes, Daddy, this is really good. And I was like, that's fucking weird. You don't like anything that's a weird tasting thing. I goes, you like it? She goes, yeah, Dad, you should try it. I was like, yuck. Dad doesn't eat Cinnabons. Those are gross. Because Daddy, you tell me I have to eat everything, so you should. I go, you know what? God damn it, I'm a man. I take a fucking bite out of this thing. Dude, I bit into it. It's the most delicious thing I've ever had in my life. Like, the most delicious thing. I was like, this is a Cinnabon? My brain does this thing where it thinks, and I don't want to say I'm better, because it still does it. My brain goes, this is who you are, prides itself in knowing who I am, and there's nothing different. This is who you are, dude. You don't eat Cinnabons. So for 20 goddamn years, I was like, yuck. When I was like, this is the most delicious. I didn't even think about, hey, maybe that 6-year-old kid was just being a shit. I was just being an asshole. You know what I mean? I used to not like onions. I love onions now, but my brain was just like stuck in this way. And it was so funny because even to this day, there are things that will surprise me about myself where I'm like, oh, I could change my mind about it. Like, I didn't look at the world this way. Something kind of funny is like when you get out, they throw you, you got to go through your therapy sessions and all this shit. And I had like this lady that I talked to, and she said something, and she's like, how does this make you feel? And I was like, not happy, not sad. I'm not all the way angry. So she was like, annoyed? And I go, yeah, I guess that's a feeling. And she was like, name the feelings. I was like, happy, sad, angry. I was like, I know there's dude, I thought there was 6 fucking crayons to draw a picture with, like 6 things. Like, my whole life, I looked at things in a certain way. And I never realized, like, there's different ways to look at them. Those ways can change, and it's kind of funny where at like 40 years old, I stopped I stopped being a child, like how I think about stuff. Like, there's still growing and shit going on, which is kind of funny because you try to teach your kids to be like good people, and you hope to God you didn't fuck them up. And like every minute, if I yell at one of them, I'm like, did I yell too much? Like, you're kind of worried, but you're trying to figure shit out, and you're trying to do stuff that wasn't like, I know how to parent based on how my parents parented me, and I turned out okay, I guess, and they did a good job, and maybe they could if I raised my kids exactly the way they raised me, I think my kids would be pretty good too. But then, like, also, there was some shit that I didn't like. Like, that wasn't pretty good. You know, and it's nothing fault of theirs. Like they tried their best and they're people too. But then you're like, dude, like there's different ways to kind of do shit. So it is interesting being in the place I am in my life. Because again, that last 20 years, there was a stunt of growth. Like the people that make it that 20 years, it is nature and nurture. Like you are born a certain way, something drew you to this, and then you either decided, hey, this isn't for me, so you got out. The people I think that decided to stay in, I always say like there's a special kind of dumb, crazy, or just something where like they thrive in that environment and it's not healthy, it's not good, but like you do need it. Like you have to be that type of person because that machine has to kind of keep running. And all of the, I guess you could say like they're not great qualities. Like like a person that could strive in a stressful situation like that at a 10 and like everything else kind of goes away and you can be uber focused, like it's good for that person and maybe that mission, but maybe not so great for his second or third wife, you know, or his kids. Like it's like there's like a trade-off, I guess. I guess
There's
what I'm
a
trying to say,
fine balance.
yeah, and that's something that
Yeah.
is impossible. Like I have, again, it's silly to say as a 38-year-old man, or I'm not even 38. What am I? 39, about to be 40-year-old man, that I'm
Yeah, in
finding
two
out
days.
how to be
Maybe
a
it's 3 days.
it's the 22nd. I don't know what date it is today, but it's
That's the Wednesday. Wednesday is the 22nd because that's my sister's
Wednesday.
birthday. Then my mom's birthday is the next day.
Yeah,
And
I
then my
remember that.
girlfriend's birthday is on Saturday.
Yeah, that's crazy. But yeah, it's funny to think like I am learning things that I think a normal human being would have learned at say 25 or 30 or something, where like all of the, again, I don't want to say bad qualities because they're not bad, but like being unbalanced is not a preferable quality. You like to have some balance, but those are rewarded because you do well. You know what I mean? Like not taking care of yourself. Everyone always thinks like in the military, or at least my experience was like, hey, dude, if you go see a therapist, like your career's ended. Not really. No, like you go see one, it's encouraged. Like, dude, the guy's never gonna talk shit about you. Like, people are gonna understand. Like, people have compassion, right? Like, no one's like, oh, dude, that guy fucking sucks. He goes and talks about his feelings. Not, I've never seen it. I'm sure some people do it, and maybe they talk about it to be tough or seem tough or whatever. But like, I've never seen anyone get made. I think you get punched in the mouth if you make fun of someone that's like, hey, dude, I'm having a hard time. You know, and somebody makes fun of them, you get the shit kicked out of you. You can bust balls, you know, maybe, but like, you genuinely care about someone. But like, if you do go get help, it sucks because it's like, all right, hey, we need somebody to go be the single staff sergeant on this debt. Well, let's go send John. Well, we can't send John. John has his therapy appointments. Like, okay, yeah, fuck yeah, don't send John. John's got, we got to take care of John. Let's go send Brad. Yeah, we'll send Brad. So you send Brad. Brad's a goddamn mess. Brad's got a billion things going on in his life, and he could care less about taking care of himself. So Brad goes, and no one knows the shit that Brad's dealing with. So Brad goes. Brad goes to the next one. By the time promotion or like, hey, this deployment's coming up, you'd be like, well, Brad went to all the things, so he knows all the things. So we got to send Brad. We can only send one. Well, we can't send John because John doesn't have A, B, and C done. Brad went to the things. So Brad goes to those things. When it comes time for promotion, Brad went to the things, has the qualifications, and went to do the major thing. It's no fault to John. Brad just went to those things. So everyone knows what happens to John. Nobody wants to be a John. So you just kind of go, just your brain is okay where some other people would break. Your brain is okay with just fucking stuffing all that shit down and down and down. And then one day you don't have to be a Brad or a John anymore. And then you go out and then you realize there's more than six feelings, and then I don't know, maybe not doing jujitsu and working out and running 7 times a day every day is not healthy. And there's a thing called balance, and honey buns taste good, and like there's other shit that tastes good. Like you're like, what the fuck have I been doing for 20 years? It seems like a dream that I don't realize. My retirement ceremony was a little over 2 years ago, and really in the last 6 months, I'd say when we moved to Columbus, life just worked the way it worked, dude. When we moved here, everything turned and not great. Like things, there's stuff that everyone deals with and stresses and family and this and that. But life took such a great turn coming here, and I felt like, oh, I started learning how to be a human being. That when I think about my time then, like I can remember it. You remember the good times. You remember the funny stories with Tommy and his goddamn house out by the fucking airport. You remember those things.
Yeah.
But it almost seems like it didn't happen to me. Like it seems weird to say. It seemed like a TV show based on my life. Like when I remember stuff, I can't remember how it felt. I just remember the TV episodes of my life. Like if that makes a little bit of sense. So it is kind
The
of
way that I describe it is those 4 years were so jam packed, full of stress, fun times, good times, bad times, that it's like when TV went from black and white to Technicolor. And it was
yeah,
the greatest thing that ever, and it's just Technicolor, not
yeah,
full color,
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
1960s, 1950s Technicolor. And it's just like, whoa. And so you're living off that high, you get out, and like, you're basically going back to a place where it's like, oh, it's black and white TV again, because there's so low stress, like, not a lot of camaraderie. There is still some with some jobs,
And
but
that was
like,
one thing you had to find was like, because I was
yeah,
like, dude, I jokingly, I was like, I'll never be the guy that wears the hat. There are some, right? And I guess that's a good thing. Like, if people ask, and usually they'll see my tattoos or something, and just the way I talk, maybe I guess it gives it. They're like military, like yeah, and you talk, and then you see someone like minded, or maybe they serve, and you kind of talk. That whole like, it is, dude. I've seen memes about it um, that I hate that word. It sounds so ridiculous, but like that camaraderie, like it is gone. It's weird because they're like, well, what do you miss most, dude? I miss the point. I miss the hang. I do not miss fucking getting up at 4 in the morning. I don't miss getting yelled at because one of my guys didn't brush his goddamn teeth. I don't miss any of the stupid shit. I don't miss missing holidays and birthdays and Halloween, and I don't miss fucking, dude. There isn't enough money to get me back in. Like, if World War III breaks out, I got guns. I'll help, but I'm not putting on a uniform. Like, I'm good. I'm done. I don't need to. I used to have like this complex really bad where if I don't go, someone else has to go in my place. And if something happens, it's my fault. Dude, and Carrie used to get mad, so mad. Like, we had my last deployment, I fucking asked for it. We did with my wife 5 deployments. Well, no, sorry, she only did four. I did 5 deployments in 7 years because that first enlistment I didn't do any. So I was like, oh man, I didn't get to do this thing, and then I fucking volunteered. Two of the deployments was during the first 2 years of Ava's life. I was home for a couple months, so like I was doing this jam packed shit. Finally, we get a break. We go to Yuma, dude. I fucking love Yuma, Arizona. I loved it. It was so cool. Not a lot of shit to do. Wife didn't like it so much, but I did. I loved Yuma, and I was there, and I knew I got selected to pick up Gunny, and I knew I was gonna reenlist and all that shit, and it was VMX, which was kind of a cool thing too. I was the div chief there, so like that brought, dude, that was really cool for me. Where I was like, bro, I know when I start off in this fucking place, like it was a full circle thing. I had done everything I wanted to do in my career. I was fucking satisfied, full. Yuma was easy, man. I was home by 4:01 every day. Like family time,
nice.
too much family time. I'm home too much. It was fucking perfect, dude. And we had an opportunity where if I had stayed there for one more year, I wouldn't have had enough time to PCS or anywhere else. I couldn't go anywhere else. So I could have done my last career, dude. I could have spent the last 3, 4 years not doing shit else and just ride out into the sunset and be fucking good with it. And I talked to my wife. I said, "Hey, well, the monitor. I don't know if you remember him. He was in the schoolhouse with us. This dude named Goff. He was a skid kid, friends with Joe.
Ryan Goff?
Goff.
I love Goff.
So
Yeah.
Goff was the div chief at VMX when I got.
I was originally in class with him at Pensacola.
Yep, he remembers you.
I got recycled into your class from his.
Yep, he remembers you because he remembered all those guys. I don't remember Goff there, but he was like, dude, I knew you, I knew Augie, I knew Joe. Like him and Joe, I guess because of the music and shit they were into, were a little bit closer. But Goff was the gunny, the skid kid. He was a div chief at VMX when I got there. By the time I was getting ready to leave, he was the monitor. Bro, what a fucking person to have as the monitor. Like whatever I want to do, wherever I want to go, I can fucking call this friend and be like, hey, bro, like, I'm not gonna ask for like, like, can you get me to Paris, France? But like, maybe you can get me to here. Like, it's just a name and a number, right? So I'm like doing all this shit. I think he had just started or right before, but he was definitely an in. So I'm getting this. No, actually, he wasn't the monitor yet. Almost the year after he was. I'm sorry, but he was still the guy that was like, I'm gonna be the fucking guy. So I talked to my wife. I said, where do you want to go next? They kind of called me and they were like, dude, there's gunnies galore, retired, spots are opening up. She goes, well, what did they offer? I said, well, they offered California. She was like, oh my God. I go, they offered Japan. The one regret I have in my entire life is I didn't take those Japan orders. Everyone that's ever gone has said good things. I'm like, fuck, I think I missed out. But I'm so happy I did California. You know, I wish I had done 3 less in North Carolina and gone to Japan than did the other place. Like I did too much in North Carolina, but we did California. And she goes, okay, are you going to deploy? I said, yeah, one deployment. It'll be because they're just getting back. I'll do the deployment and then I'll do the rest of the workup and I'll retire before their next one, you know? And that is how it ended up. She goes, well, it's up to you. I said, well, I'll fucking drag you from place.
Hold on a second. I gotta let the dog out of this room.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So she was like, it's up to you. I said, and I remember, I said, I need one more Afghanistan in my life before I get out. That was the first deployment. And dude, the group that we took, it was so fun. It was like the VMX crew, but a different version of them. You know what I mean? Like as much fun as I had, like the group at VMX was a fun time because I was a young kid. The 261 group was great, and I retired at a 364 with a good group of people too, like and good like best friends, you know. So I said I need one more Afghanistan in my life. I just need to have that stress, which probably wasn't the best. So she's like, okay. So I got my orders to fucking Cali. And dude, it's Cali. Like, it's awesome. My brother lives up there in LA. Like, it was cool to see him, and everybody seems to like it, and it's fun, and the unit's cool, and it's fucking stressful, but it's fun. And we go on this deployment. We go to Kuwait, and I'm having a little bit of a letdown. I'm like, man, there's like a fucking green bean coffee here. Like, nice here. It's too nice here. I don't like it. So our first month, they were like, hey, we need an advance party or like a thing to go to Saudi. So what's in fucking Saudi? They're like, we're going to Saudi. I was like, what? So I'll fucking go. So it was me, one of our S3 captains, and then their AVI chief went to go do this site survey. Dude, we landed in Saudi Arabia and my heart was happy. It was just sand and shit. And there was nothing nice, you know? And it was a new base. And I was like, bro. So my friends who are in Kuwait, living in nice cans, living in nice situations, are like, dude, how is it? I go, dude, it's fucking amazing here. My broken brain is like, dude, we're gonna have so much fucking fun here. What's funny is when the rest of the unit moved down, my friends were like, are you Are you fucking? I was like, I'm sorry. I go, it seems fun in my eyes, but I now get why everyone's not happy here, you know? And it's honest to God, if I had to explain that deployment, it's like, like the next time if you have like little cousins or nephews or nieces or something, like a first grader, right? You go to a first grade class and they go, hey, we need you to be a chaperone on this field trip. So you go to the Museum of Science. Teachers are all there. Everything's kind of organized, a little chaotic, but not too bad. That's a normal deployment, right? There's a little bit of chaos, but 10 units have been there. Everything's kind of fucking established. Little things pop up, but there's adults knowing what to do, and it's been done before. This was if you go on that first grade field trip and you ask the first graders to run it and do everything that they want to do, you go on that fucking field trip where it was, bro, too much. Like we couldn't get they gave us, but we couldn't get a bus get. Like they gave us buses to get us from our sleeping area to the fucking workspace, which is like 45 minute drive. We couldn't get that fucking. We couldn't do a bus schedule. There was literally two dumpster fires, actual fucking dumpster fires. Where I was like, bro, it was so goddamn chaotic. Like it was so fucking chaotic, and I asked for this, and I like in my brain, and dude, we get back from this bullshit. There was a crash that we had with one of the V-22s, and it was like literally. I remember when I got back from that deployment, my it was I had duty the day that I turned in my Appendix J, my retirement paperwork. I had pre-filled everything out. I calculated. I think you could do it 14 months when I did it. I calculated the day. I woke up at midnight. I was in the duty hut, walked over to the computer. This fucking Lance Corporal sleeping on the couch. He's like, what's going on? Put my card in. I went to MOL. I hit submit and I walked right back to bed. Like, dude, I was done after this deployment. My wife saw it. Like, all of that, once you drop that pack, some of that shit comes up, where you're like, I'm done. Okay, I'm good. They can volunteer. I had a staff sergeant that was underneath me. So I was like, dude, whatever you want to do, it's your shop now. I'm just fucking here. I'll be at the gym hours a day. And like I was starting to relax, but I didn't feel great about it. Cause like I didn't know then that like I don't know if it's PTSD or what PTSD looked like, but I just didn't feel like myself. Like I was like, I didn't when they say like you don't have a purpose, like I didn't consciously think of it, but I didn't know what to do. But I was done. I'm home more. I'm good. We're getting ready to fucking retire. Like we're done with this military life. We're appreciative of it. I fucking love the fact that I did it. I'm glad everyone told me to stay in. That was the right decision. But I just ran a marathon. I'm not thinking about running to the car. Like I'm fucking done. So smooth sailing. I'm at the fucking gym working out. Master does as long as like I don't start too much shit. He doesn't care that I'm at the gym. He knows like he's asking questions like who do you want at your retirement? Who's gonna be the speaker? Like like don't get in trouble. Show up to the bad meetings. If someone's getting yelled at, like don't let your staff don't get fucking yelled at. But like yeah, dude. Like I show up, donuts in hand, gym at the hour, like 2-3 hours. Like it's good. I'm in twilight. I'm convincing him. I was like, Ashton, you got to turn your fucking shit too. This is awesome, And we get this fucking call that I get a text, group text, all staff NCOs at work now, and I was like, surely that can't mean me. I'm at the gym. I don't think I'm one of them anymore. But buddy Jason calls and he's like, dude, he's like, I think he called. He was like, you got to get back to work. So I'm like in not silkies, but short shorts, workout attire. I'm like, what the fuck's going on? And they're like, hey, hand all your phones in. I was like, ooh, something happened. Like I thought somebody got in trouble. Like we had a crash. So it was like, you don't want like shit to get out. So like, I don't know what it was. I'm glad I did it, but like, I just told my wife, I'm done. Like we're done. I'm home. We're retiring. And I think it was like a 4 or 5 months. Like I didn't have that much time left. Yeah. I think December is and if I was actually smart, I could have done it in my retirement a little bit sooner, but it wouldn't have been nice to Master Guns. Like he's like, how much fucking leave time do you have? I was like, I have a lot. But they were like, hey, we need somebody like go take care of like this tragic fucking shit, this stress ball. And I had already let go of my stress, you know? But again, my brain doesn't work normal. So I'm like, well, if I don't do it, someone else has to do it. And that's not nice. You know, like I still couldn't let that go. I was ready to retire with the idea of like, yeah, somebody else has to do this job. But I don't think like I really was. So I go home and I said, babe, are you at the house? She goes, we're getting back from like shopping now. I go, okay, have Ava sit inside. I got to tell you something. So I'm already in the garage packing my fucking bags. I didn't realize this. My daughter, if I take that bag out, my daughter was like hated that bag, you know, because it meant dad leaves forever, for like 6 months to a kid's forever. So my wife's like, what's going on? I go, hey, I have to go take care of something. I don't know when I'll be back. She's like, where are you going to go? I was, I'll be in California. So we're still going to be in California, but like edge of Mexico. She goes, what happened? I go, I can't tell you. And then she's like, there's a crash. She just knew. I go, can't say shit to anyone, but I got to go. So like I packed my bag and it was like this indefinite thing. So much fucking stress on the family, like because it's chaos and it's a tragedy. It's like all of this shit. And my brain was always, of course, I'm the guy that goes. Of course. And to this day, I don't take it back. I'm fucking glad I was the guy that went. I'm glad that it was me and my buddy Jason. He's like my best fucking friend. Like I I'm glad that it happened the way it happened, but there was a little bit of give for it. Like I had like it wasn't free, you know, like there's some like it fucked up some shit, you know? So I remember my wife when I retired, she was like, why did you retire? And I was like, oh, because I finished the race, you know? She's like, well, you need to stop volunteering for stuff. Like, you need to stop being the guy. And that was such a hard thing for me to do because it was like, my brain functioned, I got rewarded for it. It was like a good thing to be that guy that always did the volunteering work, to do that thing. So for a long time, like, there was a guilt of like, if something happened, maybe it wouldn't have happened if I was there. But then that's such a ridiculous thing to say because I did get out and the place is running fine. Like, and it's not like I'm the best in the world. Like, it's not that even a little bit. Like, it was more like I'm not doing my part. Like, these guys have to work harder because I'm not doing my part. I'm being selfish. And it was such a ridiculous thing to think about because I was like, the minute you retire, the minute anyone retires, bro, you go back to work. Like, you just go back to work, everything is fine. And I was like, that took such a like a hard. That was a difficult thing for me to figure out. That like, oh, I don't need to get a second job. I don't need to start a pressure washing business. I just need to be home, do the things that make me happy, but also do the things that makes my wife happy because that makes me happy, and like that whole fucking balance. And that, dude, that's something that they don't teach you. I don't think they necessarily think it's a weakness, but I do think that it's like not necessary for them during that time, but it would be necessary when they're done. Like when someone's finally done, like it would be a nice send off for like our last 6 months of like, hey, you don't work at the unit anymore. You're just going to be a normal human being. So you can like kind of like boot camp where the last week, I think they teach you how to be a good person and like how to balance a checkbook or whatever the fuck they do. Now, like there is the transition ceremony is 3 days of classes, you know? So I don't know, man. It's been weird looking back at my life for 20 years, only because I didn't realize I was doing those things and how important they were. And then it's been even weirder getting out and getting used to being like a normal person and like keeping like, you know, you and I will keep in touch or somebody else might text. And it's like, my brain never thinks about like, oh, I can do what I want. Like, I don't have to like not like this guy left our unit. It doesn't mean I have to stop talking to him. You know what I mean? Like I didn't realize like,
Right.
hey, you can text somebody, you go visit somebody, you can talk to somebody, you can like if you want, you can go visit them. You can get in your car and go, hey, let's
Yeah.
take a trip. But it's like and it's weird to say it because, like, yeah, it's an obvious thing to someone that doesn't realize it. But my brain was so used to the 20 years being just like that that know, I didn't think that I was that person, like that honey bun. Like I can eat honey buns, I can go visit my friends, like I can do whatever I want, and like there are options to go do that. It's a very weird, and I wonder if there are other people like that too. You know?
So you got to stop looking at it as whenever someone goes away or shit like that. It's like it's not goodbye. It's see you later, dude.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like we had an engineer leave the company, and like my company is spread out all the fuck over. I'm the only one where I live. Ryan was the only one in where he lived when he was with the company.
Yeah.
Like it's fucking awesome. We just go travel around. Well, we got this engineer from Pittsburgh. He's a cool dude. He's like, talk about lifting weights and dumb shit occasionally, and he's a more serious person than me. So, but we got along because like roughly the same area, and like we could talk about like sports and dumb shit. And like, so talking to one of the other engineers after he left, and he just goes, "Oh, he's dead to me." I'm like, "Excuse you? He's a cool fucking dude."
That's weird,
Like, what
right?
the fuck, man? And like that one engineer that said he's dead to me, he's from the Cape. He's from Cape Cod, and I'm just like,
Oh, that's
dude,
the place. Those
you
people
don't
are
have to
weird
be
too,
like
though.
that.
Yeah, those people are definitely weird. Yeah, it is a funny thing, right? It's like uh, somebody said it's 20 years of saying goodbye to your best friends, and you're like, well, why?
Yeah,
Like, I talked to Nick Byers randomly. I think he was before your podcast with him, I believe. Right? Yeah, I think he was. Yeah, it was right. Like, you might have done it, I think, but it wasn't released quite yet. And I think
right.
maybe you told me like, hey, Nick's. I gave you Nick's number or something, but he got in contact. Dude, I just talked to him, and it was like no time had fucking passed. Someone like even like Keller, who again we still call him Uncle Mike. Like that best friend. Like we did almost. And again, another regret is me and him not deploying at the same time. But I think we would have killed each other. But like because we're the same human beings. But he got out. He moved. I went. I moved. And you talk regularly, and then less, and then less, and then less. And it's not anything. It's like, you text someone once a day, funny, like even just a funny thing. Like you send those memes. That's it. You're just saying hi. If we worked in the same building, we wouldn't talk as like anymore. Like we wouldn't have any deep shit. Like you would just be like, hey dude, check this video out. It's fucking So it's just like a quick like, hey dude,
Yeah,
like how are things going? Oh man, that sucks. Hey dude, did you see this? Like we have this fucking technology that like we can do that. And I know sometimes some people hate talking on the phone or even like hey FaceTiming was like it is, the reality is there's life and there's shit that happened and you okay, dude, we'll talk later. But you can send some texts. But then sometimes I think what happens is like it's less and less. So maybe once a week or 2 weeks goes by, or there's a thing, 3 weeks, and then you're just like once a month thing, and then once or 2 months. So like me and him, like we lost touch, but nothing ever changed. We just weren't texting as much. And then, but we will like when we do text, like no time goes by. Like it's as if like I just saw him a week ago. Like so, it's that is the stuff that because it doesn't have to be like it doesn't have to be like this. This is my best friend in the world type stuff. Like this is your friend. Like you guys had an experience. What like when you and Ryan came to visit, dude, that made my day. I was like, dude, this like it was giggly. Like I was like, holy shit, they're coming. Like it was fun. And you're like, yeah, dude, I was here. It's not a difficult thing. You're just like, yeah, it's not a big deal. We're just gonna go visit. Hey, we can't do it every year, or maybe I can't see my friends, all the people every week. It'd be a full time job, but every once in a while you can, or you make a phone call. Like I think it is important because I think a lot of times when people get out, like you were saying, like that camaraderie is gone. Your friends are gone. Your friends that you talk to every day. And I would see it when my guys would get out. Oh my God, dude. Some of these, we had a sergeant. This fucking, he was a good dude. good fucking solid dude. They hated him. That's how I knew this motherfucker's doing his job. And I thought he hated them. Like he's just like, he was such a fucking pain in their ass. But I needed one of those, you know? The other one was the fun sergeant. He was a fucking dude. When he got out, this motherfucker he got emotional, started crying. And I was like, and you know, everyone's like, these kids are good human beings, you know, they're not making fun of them, but they're like, bro, what the fuck was that? I was like, dude, you guys are the most important people to him in 4 or 5 years. He doesn't know what he's supposed to be doing. You know, like this is goodbye forever because that's the way it seemed like nobody really talks to
Yeah.
anyone. So a lot of times when you get out, like there is this loneliness because one, there isn't any like-minded people. Two, I'm 40 years old, dude. I'm done making friends. Like I have enough friends that I've made to where it was like, well, I'm not staying in touch with them though. So what kind of friend is this? Like, yeah, there's life, but I'm also being a little lazy. And I think sometimes some people get used to that where they're just like, I don't like honey buns. I don't keep in touch with people. I'm not that guy that does. Other people can call where it's like, well, no, you can pick up the phone, you can text something funny. I could send a dick pic to Mike and I think he'd laugh. You know, like I could do whatever I want. It doesn't have to be a big thing. It doesn't have to be heartfelt or anything.
He would fucking love it.
Yeah, it'd just be something funny where you're just like, yeah, here's my balls, dude. And he's like, cool. That's it. Like it doesn't have to be a big thing. So I think a lot of stuff, and again, I'm realizing it as I speak now, but I'm getting better with it and stuff where it's like that loneliness I think people feel is like they don't keep in touch and they don't think they can or that they're a bother. It's because I'm the worst when it comes to text. People will text me, and dude, I'm just, you know, you got fucking life. If I text someone and they don't text me back for a week, it does not bother me. I'm like, they're doing something. I'll hear from them.
That's not a unique thing, though.
Yeah, or they'll be on the news. You know, like either way, we're gonna hear about this.
Yeah.
But like, it doesn't. So I think sometimes people might be like, well, I don't want to be a bother. Well, just fucking text them and leave it. And then they'll get to it when they get to it. Or I don't even expect a response. I just, if they laugh, if it made me laugh, I'm like, they'll probably laugh and they'll appreciate it. I don't need shit back, you know? So I think sometimes that loneliness people feel is because, hey, dude, you're not reaching out to the people that you said bye to. Like, you didn't have to say bye. You just said see you later, but it became a bye because you're not fucking talking to any of them, you know? So I think it's like,
one of the people who texts me the least, you remember Daniel Babcock?
yes. Not well, but I
So
remember him, yeah.
yeah, like he did the Ospreys and then he went and did embassy duty. Well,
Yeah.
he lives in yeah, he lives in Central Tennessee now, and like
Nice.
he'll just text me like the most random things, like I got injured doing this dumb thing, and when he gets a deer,
That's it.
it's just like
once every 6 months.
fucking love it.
Yeah, it could be a once every 6 months thing too. It doesn't have to be this big thing. Because it is funny. We are older. I think men have an easier time than women because like two dudes could be friends really quick. You know what I mean? If they just find like this similar thing. But it's also like I don't want to make any work buddies. I'll go to a fucking barbecue, you know, but like I have my friends. I just need to concentrate on my friends. And yeah, our life is very weird because I feel like most people grew up with their friends and their friends all live within 20, 30 minutes. All our best friends came from all over the country and we moved other places. I'm not from fucking Ohio. I moved here. So it is different where you're like, man, yeah, I can't just go to a game where it is a fucking annoying thing, but sometimes you just bite the bullet and go, hey, dude, he's 6 hours away and this dickhead's fucking on the way there. I'm gonna pick him up. We're gonna go have lunch and then I'm gonna drive back. We've done stupider shit where on a normal weekend, me and Mike drove up to Boston on a fucking like Thursday night. We got off a little early because Green was like, "All right, fuckers, I'll see you Tuesday," or not even. He's like, "I'll see you guys Monday," and I was like, "You mean Sunday?" He goes, "Monday." I was like, "Dude, I've been working all fucking day. We're still in our coveralls driving to Boston. We can do that now. You know, we're adults. We can afford plane tickets or a phone call or something."
Yeah.
I think that shit's important. Yeah.
So right now one of me and Joy's fun things. By the way, Joy says hi.
Hello.
Fun thing is we're trying to find the oldest city in every state and like just go do them.
Oh yeah.
So we were like, so we just knocked out a bunch around New Year's, and then we were like, all right, let's go check out Savannah in Georgia. And so we're like, fuck it, Ryan's not that far away. We're like, got a hold of Ryan. We're like, hey, you want to meet us in New Year's? And he's like, I can't. It's fucking Wednesday. We're like, oh, damn. Well, your wife went to college there, so why don't you just send her down and she can be our tour guide?
Yeah.
And so, like, 2 days later, she calls up me and Joy, and she's just like, you guys are trying to ruin everything. I'm like, what are you talking about? She's like, the weekend before, I have a romantic weekend in Charleston, South Carolina planned with Ryan. Why don't you guys just meet us there? And we're like, okay,
Yeah.
let's do it. She's like, what? That easy? I'm like, yeah, it's that easy. It's just, we'll see you there. It's on the way to Savannah.
That's something I have a struggle with because I have to control a plan. I'm very controlling. I have to have a very like a plan. And my wife, her two bucket lists, kind of bucket list items. One's obviously she wants to go to France, like every lady. But she's like, I want to go to Puerto Rico. I'm like, oh, that's fucking easy. You don't even need a passport for that. And she's like, I want to go to Salem. So I was like, all right. Like my brain always
New
goes
Hampshire or Massachusetts?
Massachusetts. And so she's like, what's the best? Like my brain goes, what's the best way to get there? How can we maximize fun? How can we organize fun where I take the fun out of everything? And finally, I was like, you know what? Her sister's going. They just did a cruise and they're going to Japan to go visit family. I was like, dude, if they can go to Japan with all them goddamn kids, like we can go to Puerto Rico. So I said, hey, we're going to Puerto Rico in spring. And she goes, no, why don't we do Salem? Go visit your parents. And then when we go to Puerto Rico, we leave the kids with your parents. And then we go do Puerto Rico ourselves. And I was like, in my initial, I was like, well, that wasn't my plan. So my brain was like, I don't like it. I need to look at all the angles and all the. I was like, you know what? Yes, just fucking yes. So like how he was like, yeah, why don't you just go meet me up in Savannah? Perfect. Yeah, easy. Anyway. All right, dude. I don't know how to end
No,
this.
that is,
I do need to end.
it's as easy as this. If you have any smart clothing thoughts, or if you just want to do like the rub a dub dub, thanks for the grub, and then we can peace out.
What is a smart? I don't know if anything. I don't know how smart I am.
Don't eat yellow snow.
Yeah, don't eat yellow snow, dude. Don't eat yellow snow. Um, be kind, rewind, and honey buns are delicious. So fucking go have one, I guess.
All right, I'll get you a Little Debbie lifting team shirt.
Nice, nice. Well, this was fun, dude. I appreciate it. Yeah, this was great.
Thanks, dude.
All right, man. I'll see you later.
See you later. I love you too. Bye.
Bye. All right.